Okay, I want you to cut that half right now.
And this is our next week of action. I'm Sporty FC. Joining me here is Cherry J. It's Rocket Rush Season 2, Week 6 here. More double elimination action to follow. Cherry J, welcome to Rocket Rush. Welcome to what every Saturday has been, these teams have been enjoying so far. And welcome to Week 6. I mean, the 9-week qualifiers are almost over at this point. We're well into the season at this point, and that championship, the $500 championship, is not too far away. So nowadays, not only obviously is the prize money matter, $100 up for grabs, but so do the points. They've increased every single week up to this point. They're going to keep increasing, and these last couple events, winning now propels you likely into a spot in the top 8. So that's a huge advantage to have. You want to win these events, you want to take points, you want to put yourself in a position where after the 9 weeks of qualifiers, you're into the top 8, you guarantee a spot into the $500 invitational, and you don't have to play through the LCQ. That's a huge deal for these teams. I mean, the winner of this week gets 32 points, so that's going to easily be enough to propel you well, if not into the top 8, at least close enough to the top 8, so where you're going to be a real threat for the next couple weeks to come if you decide to sew up again.
Yeah, of course, coming into this tournament, the exponential growth you're getting in points is going to become a big factor for these teams to play ever so harder. And Sporty, I'm super excited. These two teams coming into the battlefield, North Point Esports, Tarnished Academy. I'm a little bit curious, right? You had kind of said that these might be a little bit more on the unknown side of things, right? Some dark horses into the matchup. And so, just to get a bit of a thought process from you, how do you think this game could play out? Do you think that there is going to be a clear favorite, or could this be a more evened out matchup?
Well, the thing is, I don't know enough about North Point Esports to give you an answer, but we do know a good amount about Tarnished Academy A, if you're wondering. Tarnished, the Tarnished main team is actually our #1 team in points. They have, I think, 40-something points. I checked. If you get 30-something points this week, and no one else that's currently in the top portion of the bracket would gain enough points. That, by the way, is 32 points is enough to put you into 2nd place at best. So that's a huge advantage to have. So considering, you know, the order that Tarnished Academy A is from, there's a lot of pressure on them, but this is the Tarnished Academy A team that actually has made a top 8. They made a top 8 last week. So they're a team that's known to get points, known to do well. Of course, they're trying to keep up consistency with the performances they've had earlier this season. We'll just have to wait and find out. I mean, players like KNZ have actually been here earlier this season on previous Tarnished Academy rosters, although that, again, this team itself has disbanded mid-season. So, you know, pressure on. You need to play well. You need to stand out. But this Tarnished Academy A team definitely is a team that's expected to do well.
Yeah, Tarnished has been looking spectacular recently with 20 points in Week 4, 22 in Week 5. They're certainly on a hot streak. We'll see whether or not they can cement a victory in Week number 7, or 6, apologies. As I'm sure that they have already had the growth needed to be able to at least keep up the same level of impact that they've been able to get in previous tournaments. Of course, not playing in the first 3 did halt the ability to get a massive lead over some of the other teams, but they still did look good. They're now going to be facing off against the team we haven't seen a whole lot from, and whether or not North Point Esports will be able to provide the victorious start that is needed to be able to keep up the momentum in a season, or not season, a tournament like this. Of course, going to the lower bracket this early, definitely going to be spelling out destruction because of the lack of second chances you're provided with every single game. After that has to be a victory, and if you lose out this early, I mean, of course, Tarnished Academy A would be a rough upset for them.
Yeah, it would be. You don't want to lose this early. I mean, it's still a big double elimination bracket. Reminder that all matches, again, still are best of 3, so they're not very long. You need to get out to a good start, and it's weird because I've never been in this portion of the stream. I've never been in the first section of the stream. I've always been in the last section where you typically see the better teams that are already warmed up. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to have a great time here. I think we're going to have a really, really fun series, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to get later on as well. But, Jerry, we're moments away from our first best of 3 beginning. We'll see what North Point Esports do bring, but Tarnished Academy A, they have a... I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you realize just as much as they would probably realize, just the kind of pressure that you're on. Tarnished is an org that, while new, has its roots back in Zave Esports, who made top 8 last season with their main team in Season 1. So, there's a good amount of pressure on this team to, do better than they did last event, to make a top 8. This is a Tarnished org that has a lot of teams, a lot of competition within these teams to kind of show up and be solid. I mean, each event that we have usually has 3 or 4 different Tarnished teams at least. So, there's pressure to be able to be consistent, to show up over and over again. And I guess what we'll need to see is what kind of version of Tarnished Academy A we get, and if they're able to handle that pressure that the Tarnished org seems to bring to a lot of teams.
Yeah, of course, right? Fast tempo, being able to deliver easy goals is exactly the level Tarnished Academy is looking to try and provide today. Now, whether or not North Point Esports is going to allow them to be able to dictate the pace, we'll have to wait and see. But, of course, this is going to be a big game. And, of course, when you're in a big game, what else do you need, Sporty, but some big candy? And if you want some big candy, make sure to head over to Trolley for even more big candy. So SportyLeagueTrolley.com. Make sure to head over, get some candy, get some gummies, get some sugar, and that will definitely hype you up for some big matches. Of course, these first few probably not going to be as close, as high energy, as impactful towards the center of the bracket as we might be getting later on. So once we hit towards those semifinals, finals, quarterfinals, every type of final, then it might get a little bit more crazy, but it's always good to have candy right at the start.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a long day for these teams. I mean, I'm expecting at least a few hours of action, so we're going to see a lot of matchups. We're going to see a good amount of action, and I would assume we're going to see a good amount of solid teams perform here. If we take a look at the points here real quick while we're waiting for these teams to be ready here as well. We'll again tell you just again about look at the points that these teams are going to get as well throughout all of these events. And while we're doing that, by the way, you mentioned League Trolley. You also forgot to mention our other sponsor, trophi.ai, who's also sponsoring all of our events. They're the name sponsor this season, and for good reason. You can use them, to improve on your game, to get coaching essentially, and to improve, week in and week out. So, a lot of players that can use this to help yourself improve in Nameless Esports events. I think a lot of people use these events as kind of their testing grounds against higher level competition. And ultimately, if you don't think that's enough, use code Nameless, 12% off as well. So if you don't think that's enough, then obviously the 12% off could be enough for you here as well with our sponsor trophi.ai. But Jerry J, we're moments away from getting this match going here. We've got everybody in the lobby, we've got the players ready, we've got the teams ready, and I think we've got the fans ready as well. So I think we've been talking long enough here. Going into this matchup, Tarnished Academy A are the favorites, definitely the top team in this ranking. I guess all that I have to say is, are you ready?
I'm ready. I am ready, and especially with how close these teams are fighting for the top 6 spot for the championship. I mean, you got to get very, very high up in this leaderboard to be able to get there, and of course, Tarnished looking to maintain their position up at the top. A good win today certainly would be able to cement themselves in top 6, but as we just have to wait and see. Sporty, do you have any maybe predictions for a champion this week?
I mean, the clear top team here is the Houston Spartans, as well as Tarnished. Those are the top 2 teams. I would be surprised if those were not the teams at the end of this bracket. Now, with that said, I believe Houston Spartans are playing another tournament later today, so we'll see if they do stick around or not. But I'm looking forward to this. We've got some action to go into, and we'll obviously see how things fall into place here. But again, you mentioned top teams. Those are our top teams, Houston Spartans and Tarnished. But speaking of Tarnished Academy A is here. They're on the orange. It's North Point Esports on the blue, and we begin our best of 3s in upper round 2. As well, North Point with Fallen Ghost, Casino, and Cole. Again, it's Tarnished A, who we've seen before with, I think it's Cycles, Cynthia, and KNZ. And, this is a Tarnished A that has already made a top 8, has already proven they can be a top team, contend near the top of the level. The question now, again, I ask is, are they consistent? We'll have to just find out, because drops when we see teams that make top 8, Sherry, fail to do it again, so it's all about consistency here for this team.
At the moment, North Point Esports starting out well. We'll see whether or not they can continue, and already, Tarnished Academy shot against them, but unfortunately, despite the pass and play, they will still be unable to deliver the shot. It'll be Cynthia who will take the first one, and opening up game number 1 from the height on the left side. Sporty, a spectacular goal from Cynthia to be able to close this out.
It is. Strong start here for Cynthia, and really, again, you would expect Tarnished Academy A to be the heavy favorite in this. Now, the winner of this match would likely play against Tarnished Academy White, if you're wondering, so that's another good team, and that's going to be a real good matchup no matter who plays against them here, but yeah, realistically, Tarnished Academy A, again, a team that's proven themselves already in a couple of these events. It really comes down to just being able to make sure that you warm up well and you don't overcommit in any way, you don't make things easy for North Point. Something that this Tarnished Academy A is pretty good at. They're pretty good at making things tough for their opponents, no matter who they're playing against here. But Fallen Ghost is going to have to go back. North Point Esports not slowing down right now. It was a very hesitant offense, a really hesitant defense, sorry, from KNZ, and North Point wasn't happy to take it here. And if you're Tarnished Academy A, it looks like they're kind of warming up still. So this is a huge point for North Point to be able to take advantage.
North Point Esports at the moment taking this game equalized. Despite Cynthia's success, they won't be hindered at all. Trying to go for another goal. Unfortunately, North Point Esports unable to get to the same level of value, but with so many players in rapid succession towards this goal line, certainly seems like they might be able to get a swift end to it. At the moment, though, they still do get blocked off.
Yeah, good save there. Will be followed up now by Kaz, who, by the way, I believe that is Vibes on North Point, if you're wondering. Now in goes Cycles, up to the back wall, miss there! Should be a chance to shoot, and it will be for Cynthia. He's hit the bar! It was completely panic mode there for North Point. They were not ready. I'm surprised they weren't ready either. That back wall was left completely open. Rare that you see a team leave that backfield that open and not get punished for it here, but today, and this match is the case, Tarnished Academy failed to recognize just how good of a chance that really was for them.
Commencing another shot from the top left, giving me a bit of deja vu. Instead, this time around, will go out. And they're not able to succeed just yet, but getting a little bit physical with the ball. Cynthia keeping it on blue territory. North Point Esports still unable to get out of the fray as they're in the woodwork. We'll see whether or not Tarnished is going to be able to capitalize.
Oh, did that answer your question?
Well, that answered my question, Sporty. They took a massive win, and Tarnished Academy once more in the lead. Cynthia's been playing an absolute masterclass performance.
And it really just comes down to, I mean, realistically in this game, it's not going to come down to pretty looking plays here that's going to favor Tarnished Academy A. It's going to be getting your head in, getting a little dirty with the plays, and, you know, not being afraid to just take plays as they come. You're not going to get easy looks. That's for certain here. So far, now it's 3-1. While Tarnished Academy A is starting to really break through the defense of North Point. We kind of expected this would happen eventually. They needed some time to warm up. Halfway through this game, you're starting to see what makes the Tarnished Academy A team so good. Shots right now 9-2 in their favor. So this is pretty dominant so from Tarnished Academy, and I'm gonna say it, I'm not too surprised. I think the only thing that surprises me is that they didn't start the game like this. That they needed a bit of time to warm up, but even that isn't that unusual.
A heroic goals coming out from North Point, something that we weren't necessarily expecting coming into this, as Tarnished Academy is such a decorated team in terms of their success, and as it has really been a Cynthia masterclass so far with a spectacular start. It will not just be a one-player show. They're all going to be able to fire on all cylinders. Now, trying to approach on the orange side of the map, it is going to instantly scale the opposite direction. Tarnished Academy, still though, not going to be out of the woodwork as they continue to get in. And despite the save, Cynthia from the low ground, driving straight into the net. And Tarnished Academy once more puts up a fourth.
Yeah, it is. What a strong showing here, 4-1. Just continuing to look like a well-rounded team here, the more well-rounded of the two. And we just have to keep watching here and keep enjoying it. But Tarnished Academy A, over time, breaking down North Point just piece by piece, play by play. They've been holding on to all this offense, and now it's kind of felt like it's all bubbled over. And North Point, again, you said it, a valiant effort from them here so far this game to just be able to keep things close to the first half of it. But the second half has been all Tarnished Academy. They've been able to figure out what really allows them to be successful. And really what's allowing them to be successful is just that they are just a higher ranked team. And you're seeing it here. 5-1 now. I think this game is over, Cherry. I think we can say this is a win for Tarnished Academy A in game one. It's a best of three, so they will need to win another one. But realistically, this game feels over.
I mean, you're in no way exaggerating it. I mean, this is 5-1 with 1:30 on the clock. 4 goals. A near impossibility for North Point Esports, and of course with the current state of things in a best of 3 you do have time to possibly be able to reclaim yourselves and rejuvenate into the next game, but I just need to see more from North Point Esports. It feels like Tarnished Academy has just been so in sync to the point where the actual defense has just completely crumbled when they start scaling up the field because of the fact that you just have so many threats you have to neutralize.
Yeah, it's one of the things about this Tarnished Academy A team that makes them pretty fun to watch, and I think part of the reason why this team typically punches above their weight. We've seen them do it saw them do it last event, and part of the reason why is because, as you said, they have multiple different threats. This is not a team with one strong player. This is a team with 3 players who can all be strong, and you're seeing that from them here. It's 5-2, a goal back from North Point, but at this point, I think that's more so just Tarnished Academy A kind of relaxing and taking the foot off the gas than anything else.
Yeah, second goal now commencing, seemingly Tarnished Academy going to allow some of these to concede. 50 seconds left on the clock, likely not going to allow many more to drop into play just to be able to secure this and make a concrete Game 1 victory. And of course, with them still firing all cylinders, they're going to be able to contain this game without any real hitches, because these last 2 goals, I mean, yes, they came out, but just the amount of rapid shots that have converted for Tarnished Academy, it's too much to deal with.
Yeah, you said it as well. A little too much for them to handle, a little too much for them to play with, and a little too much issues to work with. Will be Cynthia to clear. Up to Vibes. They'll be Fallen Ghost, and they're gonna get a 3rd goal here. Well, North Point, you know, for all the issues they've had, their offense has actually not been one of it. They haven't had that many chances to score this game, but Fallen Ghost has converted on 3 of his 4 shots. So, if there's one good silver lining from this game, that is if they can get out of defense, they seem to be fine. Unfortunately, most of this game was spent in their half of the field. Like, I can imagine almost the entirety of this game was spent in their half of the field. But going to Game 2, if we can see a little bit of an improvement, a little bit better, and a little bit more, I would even say, from the case of North Point and just getting out of the half of the field, this game 2 could actually be up in the air. They at least have an offense that is scary. Fallen Ghost has done a great job at converting shots this game.
Oh yeah, with 3 goals now, North Point Esports certainly on the cusp of maybe breaking into this match and giving a little bit more contention when it comes to a 2nd to 3rd game. But another shot comes out, still the defense holding strong. North Point Esports able to keep this game alive, not allow that 7th goal, not allow that consolation prize. Tarnished Academy taking a pretty convincing Game 1, Sporty. I gotta say, they played great, but a hat trick from Fallen Ghost definitely looking good.
Yeah, it is. I think this North Point team has proven that they're at least going to try to make things competitive. That's the good sign. In a game this bad, that you can at least prove that you can be competitive here. But that was a Game 1 full of questions for North Point, and I think they failed to answer a lot of them. And the question that I have to ask is, can they get out of their own half of the field? Because they really struggle to do that. If they can get out of their half of the field, if they can play offense, I expect to see them have more success. But for now, we just have to wait and find out. Now, update for all of you as well, by the way, while we do go into this matchup. The winner of this match will play against Tarnished White. Now, Tarnished White's an interesting team. They're a team that's rated decently well, but they're a new team for Tarnished. This is, I believe, their first event together, so that'll be interesting to see and see how Tarnished White can perform, because they're gonna, again, if Tarnished Academy A can be as consistent as they have been, which I expect they will be, then obviously they'd be. I mean, they're a team that's been around for a while. They all know each other. They are not new in any way, and realistically, I think the question, comes down to, the Tarnished White team's new, as all that probably should have been in there for Tarnished Academy 8. It will be cleared out, but again, Tarnished White's a newer team. You wonder how they're going to work together in their first event. So they'll be going. If Tarnished Academy 8 wins this, they'll be playing against an experienced team that they know. And I guess the question comes down to what you'd expect from Tarnished White. So all I'm saying is, watch Tarnished White. They'll be an interesting team if we get to see them later in this bracket.
Oh yeah, fun matchup, a hometown rivalry possibly. Tarnished Academy A, though, instantaneously out the kickoff, taking a little bit of a slow start to the round, but as soon as it hits the 1 minute mark, they really do start to up the tempo. Both players traveling on this right route on the pitch, and it just completely overwhelms their opponents. North Point Esports unable to evade that goal, and it just causes so much value to come out of this double investment in towards the wing.
Yeah, well, they didn't answer here. If they're looking for an answer, Fallen Ghost might be the answer! Oh, he absolutely is! He's had his 4th goal this series. All 4 goals from this North Point team has been from Fallen Ghosts. Clearly, the answer is Fallen Ghost. For any issues that North Point have, it's Fallen Ghost. If he can get on the ball, this team just seems to succeed. I don't know what it is with Fallen Ghost. Right now, Tarnished Academy A cannot seem to match up with them. So, if you're North Point, get Fallen Ghost on the ball anytime you're on offense, because whatever he shoots, it just goes in.
As of now, Tarnished Academy A once more back in equalization. We saw this earlier where it was tied 1-1. Can they maintain it? It's starting to get a bit dicey. Fallen Ghost attempting to try and slide it into the net. Unfortunately, this time, the space not there. It's too tight of an angle. And Tarnished Academy A will be able to hold the defense once more. This North Point squad certainly starting to get a little bit more volatile. The damage has been dealt. The tempo has been built. The momentum starting to increase. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to create an upset.
Yeah, it is. I mean, an upset is definitely within the possibilities here in this game. This is the Tarnished Academy A team that has not been able to manage this game perfectly, but what they have done well is their offense. That's off the bar. Follow-up shots too slow. Will be kept off the line by Vibes. Now goes Fallen Ghost. He's not the guy you want on the ball at that point if you're Tarnished A, but they'll clear it out with KNZ. Cole, not played well. Tarnished A back upfield. KNZ redirect in front. Simply right there. Will not be able to get a shot on it. And well, a poor pass attempt from KNZ. It's going to slow down the offense to a bit of a halt here, but not for long. Cole's waiting. Maybe waiting a little too much. Chance to shoot. No one there for Tarnished Academy A. They've had plenty of looks, plenty of opportunities. This is a North Point team that has been pretty passive, all things considered. But they've not been able to be the better team at times here, Tarnished A, in getting those goals. Now they've overcome it. It's wide open, and it's Cole. 2-1 up for North Point Esports.
Sounds so easy to say 2-1 up for Tarnished because
I
of the
almost said it
fact
too.
that, you know, on paper, North Point Esports should not have been able to compete in this matchup. This is the #1 team coming into the Rocket Rush Season 2, and despite that, it is still going to be a complete and utter just dominance on both of these teams' side. They are playing absolutely out of their mind. The cracked gameplay these two teams are giving us is a delight. And as of now, Tarnished Academy looking to try and find an equalization, as it does certainly start to look a little bit rough. It's good for Casino, who's going to send a pass over, and unfortunately, KNZ once more for the block. North Point unable to continue to leverage this, but it starts to send down. The spike a little bit wide, won't be able to get into the net. Still though, looking to press the issue as KNZ a little bit off on the touch. They're positioning just off the mark, and this might start to get rough. Barely blocked out of the net.
Yeah, great reach from Cynthia there, and here goes XK the other way. Then they got KNZ in support. XK is going to take it themselves. Individual bump to be made. Oh, they missed it completely. Cole's going to be there. And Tarnished Academy A already looking a bit desperate on the offense. Will be Cynthia. Oh, another player jumping in. That was KNZ. XK will leave it midfield. No one there, though, because of the overcommits. And it will be North Point who, ooh, don't do well. It's an open net for Cynthia. They miss. Follows off the post. It's open for KNZ. And it's tied at 2. North Point Esports got away with one. But this mistake hurts them desperately. A poor clear up the side wall. And Tarnished Academy A eventually capitalize.
A magical goal from Tarnished Academy A with barely the time to be able to do it, but the ball just lingers down towards the top or bottom right corner, apologies. Cynthia instantaneously trying to replicate some success. Cynthia, absolute absurdity coming out sporty as they take the third goal. And Tarnished Academy A making this North Point Esports squad's lead look like just some dust in the wind.
Yeah, what a shot here. Tarnished Academy A out of nowhere have found their shooting boots here, and now they're up by 1. Still a little bit of time to play, though, but a win here would be a matchup against their fellow Orc teammates in Tarnished White. Will be cleared back. KNZ now looking to try to end this game once and for all. It's a demo on XK. Fallen Ghost to clear. North Point desperate for something. Fallen Ghost has already had a goal this game. They might need him to get a second goal just to keep things close. XK again. Reset the take. We'll dribble it down the field. XK is looking for an extra touch on this. It's KNZ to the back wall. Cole to clear. They have got one themselves. A flick upfield. Cynthia to KNZ. 10 seconds remaining here. All Tarnished is doing is just playing for the 50-50. Someone's got to jump in. It's XK. He'll take it around 1. Cole to challenge. This ball kept up, but not for any longer. Tarnished Academy A. It was a much closer series than they would have wanted, but they move on to the next round of the upper bracket.
A close game, to say the least. Tarnished Academy A, though, in the end, will be able to take this 2-3 and secure the series 2-0. Sporty, I can't believe that this game got so close in game 2. We saw game 1 get so one-sided with a 6-3 finish. I was under the impression, and I think we're all kind of at the expectation, this game 2 would be another blowout. However, in the end, Sporty, completely different match. 2-1, a overall scoreline in the start, and then from there on out, we saw just getting completely facilitated and brought out of proportion. So a 3-2 finish overall in game 2. Definitely rough for this side of North Point, but I'm sure they're going to have a decent lower bracket run. We can't discredit them by any means. They played out of their minds today.
Yeah, they looked really good. If they stay in the lower bracket, they're going to have a pretty good run up for themselves here. But our run continues in the upper bracket. Our next match will be Houston Spartans and TAB. So the number 1 overall seed on stream for the first time today. May not be the last time today. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you that match. Welcome back to Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2. Week 6 still continuing here. We saw quite the sweep in our first round, and usually our first round is a sweep here, Cherry J, but that one was much closer than we expected. Now, we get an even more one-sided matchup on seedings. Houston Spartans are number 1 overall seed, a team that is chasing the number 1 position in points, a team that it is definitely a team to be fearful of in an event like this. This is a very good team. And the Houston Spartans, they play in a lot of events. I believe this is their first event, though, in Nameless Season 2. So, I mean, they're looking to win. They're definitely looking to win, you know, this event as well. Sorry, their first event under the Houston Spartans in Nameless Season 2. So, they're looking to, you know, be a top team again, continue their reign as the top team in this tournament. They're a scary team, to say the very least. I mean, I don't think that is at all a surprise, to say the very least. So, Cherry J, this match feels even more one-sided than the last one here, knowing who's playing, you know, tonight as part of the Houston Spartans. Yoko, True, Sif, Aspect, Mega. Ooh. I believe it's Yoko, Mega, and Sif who are playing today. Yeah, it is. Yoko, Mega, and Sif. So, we're playing today. So, that's a good roster for the Houston Spartans, and ultimately, no matter who of these 5 players they play, they're going to be good. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. And really, the only team I see in this bracket that's going to give them some trouble would be Tarnished. So, expect the Houston Spartans to dominate. And if they don't, expect it to be a big surprise.
Yeah, I'm surprised True isn't playing. That's a strong player right there. Came, I think, top 32 in RLCS LCQ. Very, very good player. But yeah, no, overall, this team, Houston Spartans, should be very, very poised to be able to get a lot of placement points overall in this qualifier. And, of course, this would not be possible without League Trolley as well as trophi.ai. So make sure to go ahead over to both of those if you have any interest in candy, coaching, anything that starts with a C, as you'll definitely find a lot of success with both of those. Honestly, Sporty, have you ever used trophi.ai? Because I know I probably need it more than anybody. And you know what? I don't like people judging my gameplay. So you know what's better than people judging my gameplay? AI judging my gameplay. And if you're in the same way as me, you should definitely check out trophi.ai.
I mean, either way, you know, there's something out there that's judging your gameplay. All you need to learn is that in Rocket League, everybody's judging you at all times here. Well, we're moments away from getting things going here, and for, you know, this team in the Houston Spartans, who, you know, are not a new team for us, by the way. They, again, previously were known as the Franglish. They were here in last week, week 5. They had 15 points. They made, I believe, a top 3 finish. So they're trying to win. They were not able to get past the Minions or Tarnished. So this is a Houston Spartans team that has a bit of a chip on their shoulder. There's a Tarnished team across from them that they want to take down, and honestly, with the way that things look, you could pick either of those teams to win, and you'd probably be right. But reminder that for this match, it's not Tarnished that they're playing. It's Tab, T-A-B, Arbiter, Busy, and Tipsy on that roster. So I'd say let's get into this series again. Let's keep the matches going. Let's see who can show up when the time calls for it here. I'm ready. You're ready. I think we're all ready to see who will get through. So I believe the winner's quarterfinal is determined from this matchup. Yeah, the winner's quarterfinal. So, you know, winner of this goes to the winner's quarterfinal. They're 1 win away from a top 8 finish.
Yeah, very, very good placements, of course, being able to get top 8. And honestly, I think that this game probably going to be a little bit less one-sided than last game where we saw a 3-6 finish. A pretty dominant game, but, you know, who knows? Maybe this one will be very similar. Okay, yeah, that's honestly pretty valid. I think Houston Spartans definitely a lot of firepower that they bring to the table. And Tab, they're going to need to try and find some kind of workaround. And Sporty, I'm curious on what that's going to look like, right? Are we going to be seeing them trying to maybe get that defense employed well, or will this Tab squad maybe inevitably trying to work around with some good offense? Now, of course, last game we saw some great aggressive play coming out that took the winners off guard, but if that doesn't become a case, if you can't find an identity, then we definitely could be seeing this next game coming a little bit closer than one would have initially imagined.
Yeah, it will be here. It will be the Houston Spartans on the orange. It is Tab on the blue, and Tab have maybe the toughest job of the night so far. This might be the most difficult team to play against, so good lucks to them, but we'll see how they can perform. Again, it's, as we mentioned, Busy, Tipsy, and Arbiter on that roster who are looking to see if they can make what I think would be their first top 8 of Nameless Rocket Rush Season 2. Now, this is a Houston Spartans team that's a bit in an awkward situation. They don't have their full roster here. You mentioned it. They don't have Sawafi, I believe, who it is. No, it's not. Sorry, they don't have True. They had Sawafi last week. It's true that they don't have, at least for now. We'll see if maybe he shows up later this week, but it's a team that doesn't have their full roster. It's trying to get used to each other as well. Now, you usually have Yoko and Sif. Sif, by the way, going with the name of Jake in this lobby. So these are not, unknown players with us. These are not new people for us. These are well-known competitors, but still, they gotta get used to each other. So in a lot of ways, these early matchups for Houston Spartans are not as much of a challenge as it is for the opponents, but a challenge for them. They have to establish some chemistry that maybe they aren't so used to.
As of now, still a very, very good game ahead of us, as these two teams pretty tight-knit, neither able to find a goal right off the bat, and as Houston Spartans now starting to try and employ a little bit on the defensive end. Arbiter shot to try and make it. It's unfortunately instantly intercepted, and it's going to lead possibly the first goal to be found. Still though, Tab able to keep this to the side, and as Arbiter attempting to try and deliver this one over to the net, they let the ball go towards the midfield, and now continue to press up against the back wall with some of these players investing a significant amount of their positioning over towards it. As we look towards BZ, going to be able to halt the ball in its tracks and leaving it over towards Tipsy. It's really rough for the side of Houston Spartans right now because of the fact that they've had such a difficult time being able to keep possession of the ball. It feels like Tab has been able to maintain it pretty consistently.
Yeah, Tab's definitely done a good job at, you said how they're going to manage this pressure from the Houston Spartans. Well, the way they're managing is just holding the ball. They are essentially not going to give you the ball unless you win the challenge against them here. They got to be careful they don't do that, though. That's an overcommit, and that's not a good clear from Arbiter. And easy shots for Sif and Tab with their first major misstep, and the Houston Spartans immediately on top of it. That's the scary part about playing against a team as good as the Houston Spartans. You make one misstep, you make one bad play, they're going to score on you for that. So, one misstep there. A poor clear from Arbiter, a bit of an overcommit as well from Tab. And Houston Spartans, it doesn't take much for them to find goals, and mistakes like that are going to make their life even easier.
Of course, and now halfway through game number 1, Houston Spartans already looking on the front foot of this matchup. Tab trying to contest still, but at the moment, it is still going to be rough. They're getting really, really physical at the moment, but Tipsy, great interception as they take the 50-50, win it out. Now trying to get this ball deep into enemy territory as they insert it close towards the net. They're not able to get it into the goal just yet. Tab still looking for a workaround, but at the moment, it's a great tackle from Jake, and they get the ball straight past the defenders. Houston Spartans now giving themselves a bit of a cushion, and Tab really needing to try and figure out some kind of workaround, because BZ, they had that, but unfortunately they just didn't see Jake in their peripheral vision.
Yeah, I was about to say, Busy didn't see them there. Busy knew Sif was right behind him. By the way, that's Sif, I believe, who's gone by the name of Jake in this, if you're wondering. He never saw him. He never felt the pressure from Sif, and again, a little misstep means a goal for the Houston Spartans. Every mistake that Tab is going to make is probably going to result in a goal against them here. That's just how clinical a team like the Houston Spartans are at the level that they're at. As another goal for Sif. He's got a hat trick this game. The Houston Spartans dominant as well. And for Tab, they haven't scored yet this game. They have brought on 2 shots, but it's Sif who's brought on 6 and has converted 3.
You gotta imagine that Houston Spartans, I mean, there's not a whole lot of challenges that they've been losing out to. And despite Tab having some good ball possession, they just haven't been able to employ many strategies. And so we highlight the fact that the offense from Houston Spartans is just being sublime to the point where it really does beg the question, how exactly is Tab going to be able to get back into the swing of this game?
Yeah, initially it was possession, Now I don't know what it will be, because possession clearly didn't work for them. They have made a couple too many mistakes. It's going to just come down to consistency for them here if they are even going to manage to handle the Houston Spartans. Simply put, too many mistakes this game, and the Houston Spartans more than happy to take full advantage of it. When Tab doesn't make mistakes, when they don't make misplays, they definitely still feel like the second best team, but you can see that they're challenging well. But even then, it still feels like a game where the Houston Spartans are bound to score, as they do here, 4-0 now. As Mega, who coming in as a sub, again, this team's kind of trying to get used to him here. Houston Spartans letting him get some room on the ball, and finally, someone not named Sif has got a goal for the Houston Spartans. Still, I don't think it's going to make a difference for Tab at this point. This game has so far been, well, it's been downhill since the very start, and you feel for them because they have not played badly this game. But unfortunately, if you are going to beat Houston Spartans, it's not about playing well, it's about playing expertly well. And Houston Spartans, they're going to make you play expertly well, or else you're going to be sent to the lower bracket.
With a 4-0 scoreline and 40 seconds on the clock, Tab definitely needing to just take a mental pause, find some kind of way to get back into the swing of things in game number 2, as this has certainly been cemented. The chances of Tab being able to get back into this just declining every which moment. And so, as they do once more maintain the defense, now it is going to be scaled straight up. They're going to have a chance, but unfortunately, coming down this mid lane, BZ able to isolate the ball and send it back over to the corner. Once more scaling up, it gets intercepted by Jake, who's going to be able to keep this down towards midfield. BZ trying to keep this away. It's not going to matter. And Sporty doesn't even seem like a consolation goal will be in the realm of possibilities.
Well, we'll see about this, but yeah, it seems like Houston Spartans are going to just make sure this ball hits the floor eventually. I don't think they'll really care if the goal goes in or not, but they're just going to let it fall. That's a little bit of a classy flake in front from the Houston Spartans. Didn't even challenge that one, but it's a game 1 for them. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised with the outcome that we saw here. 10 shots to 3, 4 goals to nothing. Unfortunately for Tab, this is a matchup that they're not expected to win. This is a matchup they're not even expected to take a game in. So life's going to be difficult for them here, but unfortunately it's the situation that they face. Now the winner of this match will play against the winner of the match that we were alluding to before, Tarnished White and Tarnished Academy A. So, you know, for either of those teams, this is going to be a real challenge, but for anybody in this bracket, it's going to be a challenge to play against Houston Spartans. They've come into this event as the #1 overall seed. They're going to look to make sure they leave as the #1 team and finally get a win, an event that they can make a win, or at the very least make the grand finals. They haven't even made the finals yet, in any of the weekly qualifiers yet. So for Houston Spartans, this is actually a pretty important event for them. Just get a win, prove that you're the top team, prove that you can win one of these events, because if you can, not only is that a lot of points, but it also means you get revenge against a couple different teams in this bracket that have already beaten you before.
Yeah, of course, this is not over just yet. There's still a game number 2. There's still a chance for Tab to be able to come back and maybe take this to a game 3, get themselves a little bit of an upset victory. But for the time being, it is still going to be Houston Spartans who are likely dictating the tempo, and I'm going to continue reiterating that until they show me something that says differently. As of now, Houston Spartans once more taking an aggressive angle over towards Tab. They're going to be able to relinquish some of the offense, but the demo comes through, forcing it to be a 2v3. Yokohama trying to get this in the net. Unfortunately, though, their star-spangled shots will not work, and despite a lot of curiosity behind that aggression, I don't know what they were doing, but it was very free, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, there's a lot of space. Yoko's trying to go for a little pogo play. That should have been in for Busy. An open net. Rarely do you see Houston Spartans give you a look that nice. Now in goes a pass. Oh, speed jumped! It's off the bar and out! Tipsy gets on the end of it. Well, the Houston Spartans have gone to freestyle mode, and they're not going to exactly stop anytime soon. That nearly a start to a goal 1 lead, but it will be cleared back by Tipsy. Resting on the floor for Tab, and Houston Spartans again with the ball. Another pre-jump play. Yoko, he's got Mega! He's got a pass that went a little too heavy. And the Houston Spartans will go right back into possession here. And even with all that they're doing, even with all the boosts they're using on offense, going for these freestyle-esque opportunities, it is still no different. All in control of the Houston Spartans, and well, we'll have to see if there's anything different here. Arbiter with a shot. Got enough on it. Mega will get the ball, and then some. Challenged by Tipsy. Sif will leave the ball for Tipsy here, who just sends it to the back wall. Yoko trying to find Mega. Mega on the dunk! Busy just saved his team there. That was going on target, but kept wide for now. And actually a 1v1. Tipsy, oh, he doesn't play it very well. He needs to win the challenge. He won't be able to do so. Someone like Sif is going to know how to handle those situations, and Houston Spartans have gotten a bit close this game to conceding, but still the team that's looking a little bit better right now, albeit in a game that's this even for this long. if you're the Houston Spartans, you probably want to get a goal pretty soon.
Oh yeah, you allow this to go away, and then Tab's able to find a goal at the last few moments. That certainly would be a destructive start to a series, and especially a tournament of this caliber. As now we see Tab looking to just try and make that heroic entrance happen. Unfortunately, now it's an empty net. It's all up to Tipsy. And, well, it doesn't actually even go on target. But, you know, busy trying to get it. Oh, my gosh, these players, they're giving me a heart attack, Sporty, because of how close this is getting. But in the end, it certainly does seem like Mega's going to be able to alleviate some of the pressure. Gets a 50-50. Tab keeping up the offense. And as of now, Houston Spartans going to allow it to stay high. That way their opponents won't be able to make the connection for the time being, and Tipsy once more keeping control.
Well, I believe Tab has already equaled the amount of shots they've had from last game, that being 3. So, you know, Tab is definitely trying to stay on the minds of the offense here and getting chances. They're not going to get many, so they know whatever they do get, they've got to make count. He's just not going to get a lot of free plays against the Houston Spartans, as Mega again looking for the bump on Tipsy. Instead, we'll actually get the dunk instead. Busy to clear. Still no goals this game, and Houston Spartans would probably like to get one soon. 50-50. It's a shot for Arbiter! Oh, what a recovery from Mega, who initially didn't plant himself in the right position. He'll help his team out there. Busy now. That's on target. Easily played by Mega. Sif will take the ball away, and he'll give his team some time and maybe even a goal. Bumped midair. Arbiter to Busy. Busy will wait for the play from Mega. Doesn't get connection. Tips it to shoot. Sif waiting. He'll make sure that there's no dunk on that play. And the Houston Spartans will calm things down just a little bit more, albeit they have been on defense for a good amount of time this game. That play is just a little wide. As Yoko does have the boost, but I love that aggression from Tipsy. Won't have an option midfield to work with, but you still like that play, as here goes the fake. It's Sif, and it's Busy again, and it's the Houston Spartans starting to realize with how little time is left, they actually do need to get a goal at some point, sooner rather than later. They've been putting this off for a while. Now they must score to make sure that this series does not go any longer than it needs to be.
The Houston Spartans still doing good on the defense, but the offense, both teams being pretty lackluster, and they need to try and change things up. It needs to happen soon. Beezy looking to end it here, unfortunately for them. Jack still maintaining their composure and keeping themselves alive. Now look at the pass up to Jake, who comes in, close contact, gets it down. There's the steal away from BZ, and they're going to keep this game alive.
Yeah, great play. Busy's had a really good game so far. He's done such a good job at intercepting a lot of these players from the Houston Spartans, reading the options that they have in the midfield and knowing which one they're going to pick out. He won't read this one, though! It's Mega! And it's the lead for the Houston Spartans. Well, Busy's had a great game so far, but this was one he would never have a chance to save. It's Mega. And from that range and that distance, he's not going to miss. The Houston Spartans now do take the lead with 13 seconds left.
This game is certainly coming down to a pretty one-sided ending. A Herculean feat for the Houston Spartans, but Arbiter at the last few moments of the game. Sporty, that's absolutely ridiculous. And Tab stays alive.
Well, I don't know what that kickoff was from Houston Spartans. Not the right choice, though, would be the right answer. It goes right back to their net, and it's such a tough place for Sif. If he goes immediately, they likely chip it over him. So he tries to kind of delay himself for the save, but he doesn't read that properly, and well, it's Tab now, who have maybe given themselves some life in this game. They even have a chance late. It's Arbiter. Mega. He'll keep this ball up, and he might even go the other way. They're going to look for one last chance. Busy towards Arbiter. Oh, he's missed this one. Busy will keep the ball in the air. Mega. They're starting to run out a little bit for the Houston Spartans. They'll let this ball hit the floor for overtime.
Yeah, it is rough to say the least for the side of Houston Spartans, a team that came into this with such high expectations set upon them as the #1 seeded team. And now Tab, a dark horse, an unknown variable, completely shutting down those expectations, bringing them to an overtime in Game 2. And if they win this, take it to a Game 3, you have to imagine the momentum should be enough. But as of now, it's still not done. It's still not over.
Yeah, that should have been in for Sif. Yeah, the whole bottom half of the net was open for the taking. I don't know why he shot high there, because the bottom part of the net is open there. There's no chance to save it. This one will not be saved. The Houston Spartans took Tab a bit lightly in Game 2. They nearly paid for it, but the answer being nearly, they'll go 2-0 in the series and off to the winners' quarterfinals.
And that is it. Our round 2 of playoffs over. Houston Spartans takes a 2-0 over Tab. I mean, it was a very close game, Sporty. I don't think either of us will deny that one. It was a very, very close affair. But in the end, unfortunately, Tab just not having the firepower necessary to take this game over.
Yeah, it will be a game where Tab, I mean, they were always expected to lose, so they at least take that in stride, that they know that this was a game that they at least played closer than maybe people were expecting. The nice thing is, though, we move from one top seed to another top seed. Tarnished will be on stream next. They take on Fallen Angels, by the way, who did upset Tarnished Aqua to get to this point. So that will be our next series on stream. I'm looking forward to what that will bring. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have the next match for you here. Fallen Angels versus Tarnished. Welcome back to Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2. Week 6 continues, and we're now into some of the real tough matchups here in our upper bracket. The upper quarterfinals is next. And we've got a rematch from our 2v2 mid-season mayhem here. Tarnished versus Fallen Angels. Tarnished, roster of Aspect, Dre, and Zobos. It was Aspect and Zobos who won in 2v2 mid-season mayhem against the Fallen Angels, with Tough and Skyrex on that roster. Now they're joined by Yash. So we got a rematch of our 2v2 midseason mayhem, and if I can tell you anything about that midseason mayhem, it was pretty one-sided. Tarnished were by far the best team in that tournament. So realistically, Tarnished I think are gonna be pretty happy about their chances in this match as well. But if there's any team that would love to get their revenge, it would be this team. It would not, well, also this team, but also a couple different teams. But this would be a team that would love to get their rematch, especially with that 2v2 midseason mayhem so fresh in their memory, knowing that they got essentially crushed by Tarnished. This is a Fallen Angels team that will want to do everything they can to redeem themselves in the 3v3 mode that, you know, is essentially going to lead to a championship here. And for a Tarnished team that would love to avoid the lower bracket as much as they can, a team that's sort of cursed to be in the lower bracket in any of these tournaments, I'm sure they'd like to win this matchup and prove once and for all that what they did in their 2v2 Open is consistent in 3v3 Nameless Rocket Rushes as well.
Yeah, I mean, this has certainly been a good tournament already. We've been seeing some close games, some not so close games, but Sporty, as we do get on in with our third game of the day, Tarnished, of course, we saw them earlier on the broadcast. Fallen Angels, this is a little bit of a newer team, but there definitely is a lot of notable players, and I think in terms of predictions, I'm going to go and say we're going to see a 2-1. What do you think, though?
I actually expect a 2-0 on this one for Tarnished. But I do like Fallen Angels' chances to take a game off Tarnished. I think that's absolutely possible. You cannot doubt this Fallen Angels team. They are surprisingly good, I think. They're not very well known, but they're good players. I would expect them to make a top 8, Fallen Angels, the way they've been performing now. I mean, they just took down Tarnished Aqua, so they've already been able to beat a team that's been rated above them here. So we know this is possible for Fallen Angels, but realistically, Tarnished are the number 2 seed in this tournament. I mean, it was either them or Houston Spartans to get the number 1 seed. Tarnished, you could have argued for either of them because Tarnished has beaten the Houston Spartans before, and those teams seem like they're kind of a level above everyone else in this bracket, just based away on things that are seeded. So realistically, we'll just have to see what happens here. But Tarnished, I would be so surprised if they were to not make it to the winners finals at the end of this upper bracket.
Yeah, this is certainly a interesting matchup. The only reason I think that this might be a 2-1 for Tarnished is the fact that their first game of the day didn't look too decisive, right? That game 2 went the distance. It was close. It got
different Tarnished team.
Dicey.
Different Tarnished team.
Oh, it's different Tarnished team. Interesting.
We saw their Academy A team, so we saw.
Okay.
Yeah, get used to this. There's 4 teams on Tarnished in this bracket.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, I did not realize that, but yeah. Okay, well, under that impression, then yeah, we're gonna go Tarnished all the way. I think 2-0. Totally with you on that. So, Fallen Angels, we'll see whether or not they are going to be able to get the upset, but I don't know. I think it could definitely get dicey with what we've seen today.
You said it as well. It definitely could get dicey. Every match has been closer than maybe what we were expecting, which proves that the skill gap isn't really that far apart for a lot of these teams, even early in this brackets, but what is not too far apart is the match. It's here, and it's now. Tarnished on the orange with Aspect, Zobos, and Dre. They've almost conceded there against the Fallen Angels. Tough, Skyrex, and Yash. Tough and Skyrex, the 2v2 team back in the 2v2 midseason mayhem, who played against Aspect and Zobos and lost. And again, as I said, it was pretty convincing from Tarnished as well in that tournament. So realistically, for Fallen Angels, we'll see what they can do, but they've got a little bit of a revenge story on their hands here. They've already taken down one Tarnished team in Tarnished Aqua, but this is the team that they really wanted to play against, the top roster of the organization, and a team that has already done well enough to win events in Nameless.
At this point, it is Tarnished who really is coming in as the underdogs and almost immediately scoring from here on out. But as we go in even further, some great defense marked into some high-octane offense, but Tarnished. Let's see whether or not they're going to be able to weather this storm, complete this goal. As of now, it's looking good for them, but the defense from Fallen Angels still looking very strong.
This is a Tarnished team, by the way, that historically, even back when they were known as VOD Sports, albeit with not the same roster, is an org that seems to be cursed. Whatever team Zaki is on, by the way, that's the org owner for Tarnished. Whatever team he's on always seems to be cursed to play in the lower bracket at some point in any of these tournaments. They've never been able to make it through. I don't think they've ever been able to make it through the upper bracket unscathed. So, simply put, for Tarnished, this is a team that finally wants to win an event under the Tarnished name. They've, again, back when it was Zave Esports, that org has won events, but Tarnished as an org has not. So, they're trying to get their first win. So, much like the Houston Spartans, you know, teams that are the top seeds in this tournament, they actually haven't won events, so they're looking to do it here. Tarnished also, by the way, looking to maintain their spot as the #1 overall seed through all of our events as well. They're looking to be the top team, looking to guarantee their spot through to the final 8 in our invitational at the end of the season by points, much like Zave Esports did not too long ago as well through points. So we'll see what Tarnished can do, but again, they're looking to win an event for once. We'll see if that can happen. An event that isn't 2v2 here is Aspect double tap. Will be saved away by Skyvex here, and Fallen Angels doing a pretty good job at maintaining a strong rotation. My worry for this team coming into this event would be how well they'd be able to play, knowing that, you know, this is a team full of players that have played in 2v2 events. They've actually looked at maintaining their rotations quite well. There are not a lot of openings here, and Tarnished are really going to have to work for this win. This Fallen Angel side is giving them some troubles already.
So far, we're halfway through the game. Neither team able to find any real impact on it, but a little bit of an engagement. 50-50 as Dre lets this loose. It goes up high to the bottom left, and getting the refresh on the boost, a necessary feat for Dre. That way they can keep this ball mid-air. 50-50 still gets past them. Fallen Angels, though, will finally get to possession for Tarnished. They still need to get this goal if they want to try and get the upset. Fallen Angels, let's see whether or not they're going to be able to get the defense off here. And right now, it is definitely just a good game. That top bar barely scraping the ball out.
Will be Yosh. Has Tough waiting. Kind of connect on that pass. Will be instead for Zobas, as he'll get it away. Off the ceiling as well. Skyvex is waiting. He was an interesting player to talk about during the 2v2 midseason mayhem. He had a lot of tough plays to make against this Tarnished team. Unfortunately, he wasn't exactly able to stand up to the might of Aspect as well as Zobas, but of course it's 3v3, a much different event. One where the teamwork's going to matter, and I will say, in terms of teamwork and rotations, Fallen Angels are playing a very frenetic style. A lot of energy, a lot of pace in what they're doing, a lot of speed in what they're doing. They want to pick up the pace, they want to play faster and faster anytime they get, and Tarnished is going to have to find a way to slow that down, because right now, I mean, Skyvex, Yosh, all these players playing really well around each other. It's really going to come down to Tarnished if they can manage this pace and find a way to cut down this Fallen Angels team to size, because so far they haven't, and we haven't even seen a goal of this game. Very little in terms of offensive offerings for other teams, and we're still waiting for someone to break the back of the net.
It's still so close, so tight-knit, neither team able to find success. And Fallen Angels, for the moment, I mean, you got to give them credit where it is due, right? We came into this assuming a 2-0 would be inevitable, and Tarnished, unfortunately, just has not been able to deliver the same level of success we were expecting. The current play, I mean, it's been unorthodox for Fallen Angels. They've been very disciplined in how their approach, which isn't honestly what I expected. I thought they would be going for a lot more risky attempts because they're coming into this as a little bit of a lower seed. I thought we were going to be seeing more double commits, but oh my gosh, I thought the defense would be there, but they were a little bit too low, Sporty, and that's going to cause the desperation for Fallen Angels with 13 seconds on the clock. They're down and out.
Tough made a little move upfield. I think he wanted to challenge that play initially. Boy, was that not the right decision. He stopped his momentum making that turn, meaning he can't reach back defensively to make saves. Tough position if you're the Fallen Angels now, because you've done so well to keep things close this game, but now you need a goal in the final moments, and this isn't going to help you very much. Zobas to clear. Tarnished to send the ball away. Will be kept up by Skyrex. Yosh, great first touch. Will look for the dunk on Zobas. Doesn't connect there. Skyrex to Tough. Aspect will send it back. Tough's got to keep this ball up. He can do that. Although he has left it here for Dre, who is going to let it hit the ground from there. Tarnished will take game one, a 1-0 scoreline. We knew coming into this match, Fallen Angels might be able to pose a threat to them. I did not think the threat would be a rotational one, and yet, in this game, one missed rotation is the difference here. These teams they didn't bring a lot in terms of scary offense. It just came down to rotations. Who's going to break first? The answer was Tough and the Fallen Angels.
That was a great game for Tarnish. Fallen Angels at the 13-second mark. They tried going for the defense. I thought they had the defense, but in the end, it was just not enough. And Sporty, that's going to cause them so much desperation coming into this next game because of just how close that was. That's got to be killing them inside, having the 1-0. And then in the end, once they got to the final hurdle of bringing it to overtime, that's when tragedy struck.
Yeah, it is. You said it as well. Tragedy striking at the worst of times. We're just about ready to get into our next game here of this series. Tarnished up in the match, and I mean they're favored against the Fallen Angels. They're expected to be in the winners finals at the end of this, at the end of this upper bracket. Realistically, at the end of the grand finals, at the end of this bracket, whether it be through lowers or not. We'll see what they can do here. But in game one, it was so close as well. It's not going to take much to separate these two teams. That's for certain. If you're Tarnished, at the end of game one, you might be feeling a little bit nervous. You're going to try to find a different way to break this Fallen Angels team because playing the waiting game, the time-based game, it's a tough game to play, and it's definitely an antsy one. And I mean, I'm sure they can handle the nerve, but I know for a fact, I would imagine they'd want to get a goal a little bit sooner than what they did last game.
Oh, look at that pass over to Dre and an early goal 30 seconds into the game. Tarnished, they're certainly going to be creating the heat, adding the pressure, and Fallen Angels certainly seeming like they're crumbling under it.
Yeah, it is an early goal for Tarnished. Well, they didn't have that in game one. And we've seen the Fallen Angels in a even position where they're able to be more relaxed. Now they're down a goal. We'll see what changes about them. This is a team that can definitely play aggressive. I mean, we saw it at the end of game one when they were down, that they could play aggressive. We got to see that aggression show up here in game two now that things are really going against them. And, oh, it's only going to get worse here. Dre, what a save from Tough. He'll play it back to Zobas, and he will sacrifice himself for the pass to Aspect. Flip reset for Aspect. Leaves it for Dre. Dre gets over one. It's Dre to the net. And it's Tough who just reaches there in time. Pinched back by Aspect. Zobas to follow. And he's got Dre waiting. Dre previously of Take Charge University. Or say KCGX TCU, KCGX, Take Charge University. He'll wait for the challenge. In fact, he'll wait to get the clear now. He'll get it. Aspect to follow. Everybody kind of up here for Tarnish, but it's Aspect on one. He'll get the demo on the second. Dre's going to take a bit of time here, so everybody back now for the Fallen Angels. But they handle themselves well here just to get back. And one of the things you mentioned as well was, you know, about the rotations of Fallen Angels, how they didn't feel like they cracked. This is not a team that seems to crack rotationally. This is not a team that seems to break rotationally. They don't seem to double commit. It feels like they've got perfect communication. This is not a team that is going to fall apart rotationally. You just need to be better than them in a match like this. And oftentimes those are the toughest teams to play against, Jay, because those are the kind of teams where you know exactly what you need to do, but it means you just need to play quality rugby. You can't wait for mistakes.
And right now, Tarnish, the defense, certainly looking good. Fallen Angels at the moment, I mean, you gotta imagine that they are not going to be too happy with the current state of things, especially with how early that first goal was scored and just the amount of time spent. They still haven't been able to deliver anything to the same success. They haven't found a goal in this series yet, let alone in this game. So Fallen Angels, how they're going to try and reapproach, how they're going to try and rejuvenate themselves, it really does matter a whole lot here, because I feel like the team cohesion has been just cemented for Tarnish, and we haven't really seen the same identity until now. Despite the block, it goes straight on over, and the perfect timing comes through for Fallen Angels to equalize.
Yeah, Tough just at the right place at the right time there. The rebound goes right to him, and he's not missing from that range, that's for certain. Fallen Angels have waited for this moment. After 7.5 minutes, they've got their first goal in the series. They're going to need to get more, and maybe a little bit faster as well if they are to take this series, but at least for now, they've given Tarnish something to think about. A goal and a bit of a play to work with. Skyrex with a big save there. Yosh will be up to challenge Zobas and Tarnish. They've gotten close to taking a second goal in this game. They haven't had it, yes, but you feel like the offense that they have, eventually something's going to break through. Fallen Angels are going to need to work quickly to make sure that when Tarnish get that second goal, that it will not be a 2-1 lead.
At the moment, Tarnished certainly looking good, but Fallen Angels with that last goal, a really good chemical reaction between the players to be able to capitalize off of a weak touch on the defense. So, as Tarnished coming in towards their own right, they're looking to try and play a little bit of defense, and it starts to scale the opposite direction. Good interception from Skyrex, and now they send it up straight. They pinch it against the top wall, and Aspect him going to be able to hold this one nicely. Now, with 20 boost, they're going to have to play conservatively if they want to try and bounce this, but unfortunately, it still does go in. Dre to be able to take the lead once more and start to leverage what seems to be the game straight onto Fallen Angels.
Yeah, such a simple play for Aspect, the air dribble bump assist. He knows that the pass is in front, even Fallen Angels know, but Aspect is in front of the ball. He can just get rid of the first guy that challenges, and even though it does still get saved, ultimately the Chaos in front, too much for the Fallen Angels to handle. They played a good game rotationally. They look like a team that could be a top contender in this bracket, but against a team like Tarnished, it's no matter how good you are, there's a Tarnished team that is in a position where they are expected to be successful here, and they've going to just keep playing that way. Zobos. Ooh, Trey didn't read that correctly here. Maybe a breakaway the other chance, but that's a poor clear. An easy one for Aspect. We'll play it right under Tough and right to Zobos. With a minute left to play in this game, Tarnished should be able to will need to be able to hold the lead. They should be able to do so. This Fallen Angels team has struggled offensively this year. They've only had one goal, that being the goal in this game. So, just simply put, Fallen Angels, if they are to come back in this game, they're going to need to show us some offense that we haven't seen yet in this series. Oh, that's not going to help.
And that's just another goal and what looks to be the nail in the coffin on Game 2. Tarnished seemingly having the semifinals in the bag.
Yeah, I think upper semifinals said it might just be in the bag here. They'll be playing the winner of this, obviously, which seems to be Tarnished, is likely to play. It's going to be likely to would be playing against SPK in the next round, a team that it has at times been #1 in points as well here this season. So SPK going to be a challenge for Tarnished. Both those teams are going to be a fun match against each other. But ultimately for Tarnished, consistent in this match. They look like a team that the team you would expect them to look like. Consistent, confident, controlled, and well, the Fallen Angels wanted that revenge badly. Unfortunately, it won't come here in the 3v3 mode either. Cleared away, sent away, and locked away. Tarnished will let the final seconds tick away for this game and the series, but their spot in the upper semifinals is confirmed. SPK will be up next.
And now with this ball just going to hit the green. I mean, Sporty, that was such a good game from Tarnished in this entire series. I mean, it got a little bit close, it got a little bit dicey at times, but Fallen Angels, unfortunately, unable to keep up the same level of play. And so, as we get underway with the semifinals, it certainly does beg the question, will anybody be able to take down Tarnished? You had mentioned it. #1 and #2 teams coming into this. We've seen them already. The opposing Spartans as well in the bracket, who has been doing a phenomenal job. This Tarnished team as well has looked great. What do you think, though, after these last 2 games? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I would favor the Houston Spartans in the way that they've been playing, but Tarnished don't look bad. Like, I mean, and Tarnished have beaten them before, so you cannot deny how good that team is. Now, we can also not deny, again, our sponsor in trophi.ai. They can be a helpful tool to improve. If you want to be here week in and week out and be on this stream, trophi.ai might be a tool to help you improve your Rocket League skill. They are the named sponsor of Rocket Rush Season 2, but we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have the upper semifinals for all of you. We're getting into the top 8 portion now of this tournament. It's going to be the Houston Spartans versus Placeholders. Some well-known teams. A great match. You won't want to miss any of it after this break. We're back with Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2, Week 6. Sporty FC, Jerry J, Ben on production. And we've got the upper semifinals for you here. An upper finals top 3 placement on the line, Jerry J. Houston Spartans versus Placeholder. These are some recognizable teams. They've got some points, and they're looking to be the #1 overall team at the end of this week. Reminder, the #1 team in this grouping gets 32 points. Now, for a lot of these teams, that would only be enough to get second. But for teams like Placeholder, who have 16 points this season, for teams like the Houston Spartans, aka the Franglish, who've got 15 points, 32 points would be, in theory, enough to surpass Tarnished. That is, if Tarnished doesn't also do well. But let's be realistic. All he seems to be thinking about right now is that $100 prize pool at the end. And, of course, a spot in the top 6 to guarantee a spot into the top 8 of the Invitational. And at this point, these teams are in prime position to take a ton of points and maybe even a part of that prize money. Only Grand Finals get the money here. So this is a big match, a big best of 3. Houston Spartans, again, our #1 seed with Yoko, Aspect, and Sif is Placeholder with Hawk, Gavalanche, and Ballads here. JJ, this is a big match. These are some heavy-hitting teams. These are some top contenders in multiple of our weekly events. And we just get to witness and enjoy the match that's about to come here. This is going to be great.
Oh yeah, cannot wait to be able to get into this action, as this is easily going to be one of the best matches we are going to have of the day. Hawk, one of the best players we probably have at this event. I don't know if you'd agree on that, but I think Hawk's really strong, I can't lie. But of course, on the other side of things, Houston Spartans, we've already seen them once tonight. We know how strong they can be. They're capable of a lot. So placeholder coming into the semifinals, definitely have a big hill to be able to climb over, but that is no excuse. They're certainly going to be a team who's capable of demolishing Houston Spartans, but it is going to come down to whether or not they're going to be able to put their best foot forward and come out swinging out of the gates.
Well, if you want to know anything more interesting about this matchup here, Houston Spartans have their starting roster now. True has showed up. It was initially not supposed to be. It was initially Mega who replaced him in this matchup. Did I say Aspect, by the way, earlier? I absolutely said Aspect earlier. My apologies. That's Tarnished, by the way. But True is back in this rotation now. So initially it was Mega who showed up for the Houston Spartans in the earlier match. We got to see them in. Now they've got True. You can tell things are heating up because this is their starting roster. This is the team that they're most comfortable with here for Houston Spartans. And we'll get to see how they perform. But don't underestimate this placeholder side. Any team that has Hawk on it, you mentioned it, or Gavalanche, seems to be teams that can punch above their weight. They're teams, they're consistent. They're maybe one of the more consistent teams in this tournament. They've been here. This is a name that's been here since Season 1. Hawk's been a name that's been here since Season 1. He's a very consistent player. He almost always makes top 8 runs, and he almost always threatens within the top 8 as well. So he's one of those players who, I mean, we know well. We've seen him a lot in previous tournaments. He's someone who will punch well above his weight, who will absolutely make you earn wins against him here, and for Houston Spartans, that will be no different. They're the favorites in this matchup, definitely, but Placeholder is a team that can definitely take games off of them.
Absolutely. So far, though, Placeholder doing a good job at being able to contest. We're a minute in, no goals scored. This has definitely been one of the, I guess, more both sides feel dominant. Because even when one side... Yeah, well, no, I mean, more so in just the sense of, like, both teams have had a lot of touches. You know, in most games, we see one team that has had a little bit more, but, of course, even if the goal eludes them, they're still good at being able to hold possession. This time around, it's a pretty different story, right? Maybe it's a little bit better for Houston Spartans, as we can see it right here again, but overall, it feels like both teams have really been contesting for the ball. Neither has been too struggling on the offense or defense. They both are just letting that pendulum swing and seeing who's going to be the ones to end up bouncing a little bit too far.
Placeholder's most recent win against Nameless Esports, that's a team that we recognize as well, and a team that they've had to play against. They've definitely had history against as well in other events. Houston Spartans, though, going to try to give them something to think about here. True to the net, will be cleared away by Gavalanche, now played in by Sif. Waiting on the back is Valids. Yoko, not the most defensive, but will be able to deny Gavalanche on the shot. True again. Hawk, waiting, will be still room for Houston Spartans to work and to breathe. It's Yoko, and still no goals this game. It's going to be a very slow-moving game, it feels, and Houston Spartans are known for this. They're a team that, I like their offense. I think they've got really strong offensive players, but they're a team that typically plays a little more defensively, especially when you got people like Sif on that roster. They're going to play a little more defensively. They're not going to take nearly as many risks. They're sort of going to wear you out as the game goes on, so it's going to be very close. It's going to be competitive, but that is to the nature of the Houston Spartans, that they kind of just pick you apart one goal at a time, and they take their time doing it.
Yeah, so far with Placeholder still contesting well. See whether or not they are going to be able to keep the defense alive. Answer yes. Yokohama starting to get a little bit deep with the ball. Not going to be able to input it too close to the net, though. Still just comes to around halfway in towards the net. And as they do get another shot, it goes close, but it's just not enough, as Houston Spartans still maintaining well on the defense.
Oh, that was close there. The closest we've seen all game so far. Placeholder watching the ball hit their crossbar and then go right on the goal line. Starting to run a little bit low on boost, too. The only one with boost right now is Hawk. Unfortunately, he won't get very far with it. It's Yoko on one. Pinched away. Follow-up shot from Sif. Very weak. And an easy one for Hawk. Now Gavalanche, who oftentimes are the next factor for teams like Placeholder. Expect that whenever he gets on the ball, he's going to try to go for a one-on-one type play. Yoko now, double tapping in! Oh, it's just consistent from the Houston Spartans. Pulling you apart, taking away your boost, and eventually sealing the dagger.
A spectacular goal from the Houston Spartans. The first one of the game at 1 minute and 12 seconds. They bring the lead. And placeholder now, with so little time in the clock, they need to be able to bounce back. It's definitely more than possible, but it will require a lot of magic to be worked, and whether or not they're going to be capable, we'll have to wait and see. But for the current moment, Houston Spartans definitely dictating the pace.
And I don't think they're done either. That double tap may have been helpful. They still believe there's more to be had. Less than a minute to go. Placeholder only down by 1, but they're in need of some offense. They haven't had much to show for it this game. No shots on their side. Nothing to show for upfield. As Hawk will play up for Valads. Back to maybe Gavalanche, who will take a punch as a top left. Oh, what a play! A little opening given by the Houston Spartans. Gavalanche hit that perfectly. You could not have shot that any better.
And that is exactly what we were expecting to see. Placeholder not going to be giving this game over. And with 30 seconds remaining on the clock, Sporty, this game has just gone into extraordinary territory with the Houston Spartans starting to really edge towards defeat with only a 0-goal deficit between the two teams. Certainly seems like Placeholder has completely reshaped the history of this game.
And they are not done yet, but that's a big mistake! It's an open net for Civ! In the final moments, a whiff like that cannot end your game. Hawk, who ordinarily is so consistent, makes a blunder of the biggest degree, and Houston Spartans are right there ready for it. What a terrible time for a terrible error. 12 seconds left. A goal desperately needed. Hawk hoping he can save a little bit of face from this one. Valads, Hawk, maybe a chance to shoot for Gavalanche. This ball will not be left off the floor, and that'll end it right there. A mistake for Hawk will end game 1, and the Houston Spartans, who are a team that's won a good amount of the games so far this tournament, won mistakes, win again off an error.
And this team certainly looking spectacular. A group of individuals that has come together, and the cohesion and synergy that they bring has just been sublime. And Placeholder, unfortunately, yes, they scored a goal. Yes, they looked good end times, but it just was not enough to be able to defeat the Houston Spartans, a team that has really come alive in the semifinals. They're looking to get their way up to the upper finals and get their way up to grands, and of course this is just a stepping stone for them, but it certainly has been looking spectacular.
Said it as well. Things have looked good so far. Moments away now from game 2, and again, it's still best of 3s. I mean, this entire upper bracket is best of 3s, so at this point now, from that mistake alone, Placeholder has match point against them here. The Houston Spartans are 1 win away from the upper finals. Now, I mentioned before, I would be very surprised if the upper finals wasn't Houston Spartans versus Tarnished. Well, Houston Spartans just need 1 more win, and they'll be on their way. The Placeholder, though, this is their time to prove that they're a better team than they were before. That's not going to help them, though. It's a lot of open room for True, and he will flick it to the back wall. Saved away by Gavalanche. Yoko jumps in, but well played from Gavalanche, who will take the ball and the boost, and the back wall is open. Missed his chance there. Cleared away by the Houston Spartans, but a lot of open room already at the early part of game 2, and these teams eager to get onto offense.
At this point, it certainly does look rough, and Placeholder, I mean, they need to be able to bounce back from this. They need to be able to score an opening goal, start to force the opponents to be the ones on a rough start, but after a constant defensive hold, eventually the wall does break, and the Houston Spartans start slamming them down. And Placeholder, I mean, Sporty, you gotta imagine this team has to be mentally drained.
Yeah, you said it as well. They got to be a little bit drained. They got to be a little tired at this point, and especially with how much effort they put into game 1. Houston Spartans now have found a way to poke another goal through the Placeholder defense, and Placeholder has played a consistent game, but not consistent enough to beat Houston Spartans. And Houston Spartans not done either. They're looking for another. I mean, that first goal only came a minute into this game. Felt like a very long series. They may get a little bit longer here, because True's got an open net for 2. Placeholder got caught committing upfield. Hawk especially was fully on board with Valads getting to that challenge, but he wasn't considering the consequences of not winning it, and Houston Spartans add another. Placeholder now already has shown some issues getting offense, some issues scoring, and really just getting shots to begin with. They now got to make up a 2-goal deficit at the rest of this game, and that's not an easy thing to do when the Houston Spartans are pretty good at holding leads like this.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you come at the ball at a perpendicular angle like that, it's just only going to land in the goal. Maybe if it was adjacent to them, it might have been a different story, but the Houston Spartans inevitably going to be able to deliver that second goal. Maybe a third, and Jake gets a third. The Houston Spartans are completely coming away with this game, and the semifinals is an absolute masterclass.
Yeah, it is. Sif adding another placeholder, falling apart at the seams. We've only been 90 seconds in this game. Houston Spartans already proving that a much better performance than they had in Game 1. This is a series, and it's a placeholder team that I expected would be able to at least try to take games off of the Houston Spartans team. They're definitely a team that's capable of doing it. Today may not be their day, though, as Houston Spartans looking for another. It's Sif who gets demoed. It's Hawk who just gives it away to True. Well, placeholder may have just given up right there. Hawk, in desperation, assists True for the 4th goal of the game for the Houston Spartans.
And at this point, I think we can both agree, Sporty, that this is no longer a game of Rocket League. Instead, this is playground bullying. And they're saying, stop, no, don't take my lunch money. And unfortunately, the Houston Spartans keep taking their lunch money, as placeholder is now in such a just deficit that it does seem almost impossible. And even when it seems like it's an inevitable goal, as this high-tempo, fast-paced game is starting to go their way, it is inevitably fished out of the goal once more.
Yeah, the Houston Spartans have given up no goals yet this game. I don't expect that to stay true for the rest of this game, just with the offense that placeholder can provide. Unfortunately, no matter what kind of offense you can bring, you need to bring something extra if you're going to come back from 4 goals down with half the game still to play. That's a lot of work for a placeholder team that can score, but has struggled to score and is going to struggle even more with how little time they have left and how little opportunities they've had. I mean, that shot, by the way, was only their 2nd shot this game. By comparison, Houston Spartans, they have 12 shots this game. Hawks going to get a goal here, though. The 3rd shot for placeholder finally breaks through. We knew a goal was coming at some point. I felt like a goal was coming at some point. Placeholder does get one, but they've got a lot of time to play with, but they've got an even bigger deficit to come back from. 3 goals still needed. And even now, time is not their friend. They're going to need to work quickly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's 2.5 minutes on the clock. Placeholder at this point in a very, very tragic position where Houston Spartans are looking like they're going to be able to continue to press the gas until they break. But for now, placeholder is still in this to win this. See whether or not they can score 3 in the next 2 minutes. They have ball possession. They're looking to scale up. They might have a shot, and it will be able to convert. Sporty, this game is just getting started. With 2 minutes left, Houston Spartans are really starting to come back and, come back, I guess. I'm shell-shocked at how well they're playing this.
Well, it's rare that you ever see a Sir Classy flip in a 3v3 match like this, but I invite it. It's probably one of the best-looking flicks in the game, and placeholder now giving themselves a real chance. 2 goals down with 2 minutes to play. Houston Spartans got to take them a little more seriously here. Still a lot of time left to be played, as it will be Sif. Gavalanche to clear. Gavalanche to get bumped. Gavalanche stopped short by True. Now around the corner. Demoed away by Hawk as a challenge from Yoko. The Houston Spartans at this point, they're not playing defensively yet. I think they're going to want another goal here. They have realized this game is a lot closer than they would have wanted it to be. But placeholder is going to give them some troubles. Valid's the Hawk. Sif to clear it away. And the Houston Spartans just trying to control this game. The ball has not fallen in their favor, though, as Valid's again trying to catch True out of position. Will not be able to do so. Houston Spartans will get the ball, but at this point, they're searching for a 5th goal just to make sure they can put this game, hopefully in their minds, out of reach for placeholder.
Such a good turn of events for this placeholder squad to be able to score 2 goals in consecutive order, but Houston Spartans, unfortunately, the 4-0 lead, just seemingly too much to be able to bounce back from. And so, despite all best efforts, and even another one barely gets scooped away. Houston Spartans still playing so well. Yokohama looking to try and press the issue once more, just cement this win, cement their spot in the upper finals. Unfortunately, right now, it's not going to be in the realm of possibilities. Placeholder still looking to try and hold this offense strong. Unfortunately, Yokohama once more reading the backboard play.
Yeah, at this point for placeholder, that offense they had in the middle point of this game has just kind of fizzled out. The mid-game momentum has gone away for them. They've not been able to string together more. Coming back from a 4-goal deficit is always such a difficult thing to do. You don't expect teams to do it. Unfortunately for placeholder, that expectation has a reason. This is going to only add to it here. True to Yoko. Yoko to the 50-50, and Houston Spartans with the last couple seconds tick away. An upper final spot confirmed here. They'll concede one more, but placeholder will not be able to make up the rest of the difference. It is the Houston Spartans, through 2 games, have swept the placeholder roster and are advancing to a top 3 finish at least.
A spectacular end for the Houston Spartans, a team that, yes, came into this as the higher seed. Yes, came into this with higher expectations. No, we're not able to close this out easily. Placeholder certainly gave them a run for their money, but unfortunately, the deficit just too high, and it left them in despair. So they're going to head down to the lower bracket, and I suppose now Sporty will see whether or not they will be able to make the return up to the grand finals. Now, of course, it will be possible, but it certainly is going to take a big effort.
Houston Spartans will take on Tarnished next in the upper finals. So my call of who was going to be up in the upper finals was correct. As well, Tarnished did sweep SPK to get there. So Houston Spartans versus Tarnished will be on this stream next in the upper finals. I mean, we're getting into the real tough matches here from the upper semifinals onward. The real big teams are going to be showing up from here on out. And that $100 prize pool is oh so close to so many of these rosters. We did get some comments from people in chat saying that we are having some lag issues here on stream. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to end this stream, try to fix up some issues on the back end when we come back. This stream will be live in just a moment, so stick around, hold on to this channel. We'll be live again soon with the upper finals, and hopefully with a stream that isn't having as many lag issues. When our stream goes live again, we'll have the Houston Spartans versus Tarnished. So stick around, we'll go offline for a bit. When we come back, we'll have the upper finals for you.
Was not enough, yet game 1 complete opposite, where Houston pretty much drove all of the momentum here as we begin the kickoff into game 3.
Yeah, he said it as well. Game 3, do or die. The grand finals resting in the balance for either of these teams. It's Tarnished, who are looking to create the reverse sweep to get themselves through, to prove that maybe the seeding, whoever did the seeding today, might be wrong. Because even though Tarnished has been the Houston Spartans before, they came into this event as the number 2 seed, favored below the Houston Spartans if they were to rematch. See if, Tarnished can prove that that result they've had before, the ability to beat the Houston Spartans back when they were known as the Franglish, is not inconsistent for them. It's really going to come down to consistency, though. Really going to come down to playing well under pressure. Both these teams have had, I would say, although they've had tougher matches, relatively expected brackets so far today, this is where those matches start to become a little more unexpected for them. We need to start seeing people separate themselves from the rest and really have your standout stars. Earlier today, you don't need that. Now you definitely do in matches as big as these, knowing what's at stake.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, this is a callback to what I was saying beforehand. This is where you start to see a bit of that star power, so to speak, where people really become men above boys, pretty much idols for others to aspire to. As we're going to be seeing here, this ball just has so many opportunities for the goal, but that demo could open things up here.
It is. Nice little demo in the front. Will be offense continued here for Tarnished. True to clear it away. Now will be followed by Dre. Dre, who himself is no stranger to these kind of moments. He's been here and done that back on KCG x TCU, so he knows how to win tournaments. He knows how to be strong in big moments. He's not exactly one of those players who you're going to see and say, oh, he's doing all the mechanical, notable stuff. A lot of what he's doing is really simple. Just keep the ball, play well in 50-50s, and make the right decision. That's ultimately what's going to win you these games. Overcommit, though! Oh, it was a little too easy for Aspect. He'll drop it in on the heads of the Houston Spartans, and, well, that maybe was a bit easier than Aspect was expecting for goal 1. The Houston Spartans totally caved in.
That they did. And you know what? There was one thing I do like to see, consistency from players. If you got nothing else you can rely on, if you can maintain a certain status quo, that's already enough for a beginning spot. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, what would you describe as a beginning spot here? Just an ability to be competitive?
So, you always need to have a foundation, right? Without a good foundation, your walls will crumble. So, that's where you want to make sure you have those mechanics, you have those techniques, and you're able to play to them without even thinking about it. You just do it well. And a lot of people, that's hard to do. And you've really got to respect the time and effort they put in to make that muscle memory. And that's going to be a goal right there from Yokohama.
Yeah, what a great play. I mean, it's an easy one for Yoko. We can talk all we want about him, but look at what True does in front of him if we ever get the view. Takes out Dre. Dre, who's been a problem for the Houston Spartans this series. He won't be much of a problem if you take him into the net with you. and there's half the game still to play, but it's a response from the Houston Spartans, and then again, a game this important, a game with this kind of resting on it. You want as much as you can to favor yourself here. Zobos, Dre to take the challenge, will be cleared away, and for Tarnished, at least this game, and it's been close, it's been even, it's been the closest series we've had all day, and well, here goes another bump from Aspect. That one. Yoko will keep the ball out. The French-Canadian in the air with a flip reset to work. Gets to the Aspect. Dre up with it as well. Aspect in that room. Adam on the back line. That's wide open. Zobos. And it will roll in the net for the lead. Tarnished is up by 1 again.
Yeah, they're really able to get those plays of opportunity there. Love to see that teamwork aspect. You go for the demo, I go for the backboard, and I'm ready for the recovery as needed. It's all about communication here.
And it's all about being able to trust each other and keep your rotation. It's so easy to do that, and I think it's so easy, and it is easy to go for it. What's not easy about that play is if it doesn't work, you need to be able to recover back. So it comes down to making sure you have that rotation in line. It's a big bump in front. Yoko's got another one. Well, Yoko will not be let to die. He's got a second for the Houston Spartans, and the game is even all over again. But again, we look at the goal from Yoko. That was the easy part. The tough part there was from True. Again, earlier at the bump. This time he has the assist. Either way, it's True who's making things happen. Yoko who's cleaning up.
That it is. I mean, something I wanted to mention is that True actually had to make that goal while both teammates were down due to demos or recovering from them. So that's a phenomenal play that they were able to find. Oh no, goodness me. Almost looked like an open goal there, but nothing to be worried about. They immediately take the ball back downfield. What am I worried for, right? They know what they're doing.
These players are good enough that you shouldn't ever feel too worried for them as well. These are players that can recover even off of mistakes. And well, let's go back to the conversation earlier about consistency, the ability to be consistent in moments like these. You talk about having a good foundation. Now, it's one thing to have a good foundation. Good teams are consistent. Great teams have the ability to elevate above that consistency. And in a match like this, I mean, these are likely teams we might be seeing in the Invitational at the very end of Season 2. It's not going to come down to consistency. It's going to come down to how you can elevate above that consistency, how you can put yourself in a level above everyone else. This is a really good match to kind of see as a precursor to the end of the season, because these are, again, likely the kind of opponents you're going to see at the end of the season, likely the kind of teams that are going to be frequent members at the end of the season, and the kind of teams you need to beat at the end of the season if you are to be champions of the Rocket Rush. Last season, it was won by Team Silence, the team that's a consistent top 16 in RLCS, and the reason why Team Silence was a top team there, for one, they had the best consistency of any team in that tournament, but the other thing that they had is that they have the ability to level up that consistency, the ability to be better than what their consistency tells them to be, and so in a match like this, it's about being able to be a level above. Someone's going to need to do it here. We're tied at 2 with the final couple seconds to go, and it's likely going to take a moment of elevation, a moment of magic to be the difference. And Zobos looking to be it here. It's off the back wall. Aspect to end it. Oh, it's gone high. A chance wasted for Tarnished. A chance to take the series. Instead, we have overtime in Game 3.
Now we do here. Immediate double demo going to be coming on out from either side. Ball starts down the way towards Houston here. They need to play very, very smart right now because they've been on the receiving end of this pressure for most of this game here in the third. And I dare say this could be a Hail Mary opportunity if they can properly follow it up.
There's a lot resting on the line in this match. I mean, not only is the prize pool only for the top 2 teams, so win here guarantees you part of that prize pool. So does that game advantage. The Grand Finals is the best of 5 with a game advantage for the team that wins this match. And I would say this, I would expect these 2 teams to meet each other again in that last match of the night. So that game advantage could be the difference maker later this evening. For now, as overtime is all that separates the 2 from that game advantage, from that little extra help. Tarnished looking to once more beat the Houston Spartans. Houston Spartans looking to, you know, make their way past the team that's beaten them in the past. Both these teams, by the way, have never won a Rocket Rush event this season, so they're looking for their first win. Devil in front! It's a double tap in from Sif, but it's again the bump that makes the difference. And once more, who's going for the bumps? It's True. It seems like every single time the Houston Spartans get a goal, it's True who is in some way a part of it.
Now that is phenomenal right there. That is trust. That is reliance that you were mentioning earlier. And Houston Spartans, they have it all. Gotta love what you see here.
No, definitely. What a showing from them here. A 2-1 series victory. So their run now is into the Grand Finals. As for the lower bracket, while we're waiting as well. It'll be Tarnished who will have their work cut out for them here. They'll have to play against Placeholder again. We'll have to see Placeholder on the stream again, who earlier lost to the Houston Spartans. Or they'll have to play against SPK, who Tarnished did beat earlier. So what's weird enough is that our top 4 teams by seeding, also we have our top 4 teams in the upper bracket, and are also our top 4 teams in this tournament. So we might have a rematch, we might have Placeholder again. Whatever it is, this tournament might be the most top-heavy tournament we've had so far, having it with the top 4 teams by seeding, the top 4 in both sides of the bracket.
No, most definitely. I'd be loving to see it, but for the time being, we're going to be heading to a quick break, folks, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is trophi.ai.
Hello and welcome back here as we're going to be going down to our lower bracket finals here. Still with you, Saminami, joined here by Sporty. What do you got for us, Sporty?
Well, we got a good match coming up here. SPK makes their first showing on this stream. The team that won back in Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2 Week 1. All the way back in Week 1, they were our first win all season. So they're back. Since Week 1, though, they've not been able to recreate that same amount of success. They've struggled in weeks since to be able to be relevant. But this event feels like a bit of a resurgence for SPK. They just took down Placeholder in a 2-1 series. So, SPK, a lot of things look like they might be favoring them here. A lot of things look like they might be helping them out here. But they're the only team left, by the way, out of these 3 teams that's actually won a Nameless week before. These other 2 teams haven't won yet. So, in the chance that SPK does lose to Tarnished, which they did lose to Tarnished earlier in this bracket in a 2-0 sweep, we will have a new champion guaranteed. But we're moments away from getting things going here, Saminami. And SPK, they have the experience of winning. With the experience of winning these events before, knowing that they've been in this situation before, what does that give you in terms of an advantage in a matchup against a team like Tarnished? Even though they might be the higher seeded team, the better team on paper, a team that hasn't won one of these weeks before.
So I will start with Tarnish's perspective because that's a little bit easier to understand because you're the newcomer, you're the fresh kid on the block, right? You're the one that's trying to prove themselves here. For SPK, you've already gotten knocked down once and your accolade has been so many weeks back. So to be able to call back to that is great historically, but in terms of, I guess we'll call it an ego buff for your own mental, I don't know how well that will apply, as very rarely does that actually help you mentally push against your opponents here to be able to perform above your standard. So here I think SPK needs to work a lot harder in comparison.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this. You mentioned about being the fresh kid on the block. Tarnished is anything but new. They've been here before. They've even made big runs to top 3 before, but they've never been able to win an event. I don't think they've even been... I want to say they haven't even been to a grand finals, but I can't be certain about that. I know for a fact they have not been able to win an event in Nameless Season 2. So we're just about ready to get things going. SPK, another interesting about them here, they don't have their S. They don't have Soku playing tonight. It is 80 in their sub who's playing with Cure and Poke. So this is an interesting run for SPK, you know, not having Soku, not having a pretty much of a mainstay for this roster since the very beginning, since week 1. You know, it's going to be interesting. They got to play with the stuff. They got to play with 80, and maybe that's part of the reason why they haven't been able to beat Tarnished earlier. But Tarnished beat this team before. This is a best of 3, and it's the grand finals that's on the line here. Not only, of course, is that just more points, a better chance for you, you know, a chance to play in the last match tonight, but it's also prize money. You only get prize money being in the top 2. So the loser of this match walks away with only points, and you know, in terms of points, you're really looking to win or get second in terms of getting a lot of points here. So, realistically, the loser of this match walks away with very little to their name. So, winning here, it might even be more important than winning in the upper finals. And that's saying something. This match, always to me at least, feels like the most stressful in any of our tournaments here, because these teams are playing just to be in the grand finals, to be relevant enough to get some prize money. And in a way, there's that just having just the prize money hang in the balance, and in ways might be more pressure for a lot of these teams than trying to win the whole tournament.
I think I agree to you in that aspect slightly, especially with what I'll moniker here as EPK, just for the moment. I see how being in this lower final is actually more harrowing to deal with, because you're constantly thinking, this is it. We either get something or we don't. One could say you walk away with bragging rights, but what's the bragging right of, well, we got points. Okay, unless you're using that for a bigger purpose, it doesn't really have any bigger value needed for you there. So I would agree here that specifically SPK have a lot riding on the line here. Just be able to fight back for a position of greatness.
Yeah, well, part of it is also there's bragging right with points. Obviously, there's the Invitational at the end of the season, so that matters. But more importantly than that is, that's almost gone in off the post there. And a little awkward play. 80's going to throw one in for a scary chance there. Tarnish will get away with that one as they'll flick it down the other way with Dre. But points matter. Obviously, the Invitationals at the end of the season. You want as many points as you can get to. You want to get there. So a finish in the top 3 is huge in terms of being able to guarantee a spot for both these teams. They're in positions where they haven't guaranteed a spot yet into the Invitational, but they're teams that are consistent enough that you would expect them to gain points and really make it there, depending on how many good results they have. So, getting points is big, but what if it's also winning these events? You'll want to win these events because, let's be realistic, points is great and all, consistency is great and all, but if you haven't won one of these events, your chances of winning in the Invitational when the teams are bigger and better and scarier, and, it's just straight single elimination, if you haven't won one of these events, you don't really have anything to go off of to prove that you are a winning type team. So, in a way, this is also to prove that you're a team that can win tournaments, can win that Nameless Invitational against these teams around you at the end of the season. So, in a way, it's harrowing because you get to prove yourself in the grand finals as a team that can win that Invitational. For now, though, it's game 1. It hasn't really been all that active. A lot of bumps, a lot of demos, but mostly nothing to go with. These teams have kind of been pushing the ball back and forth, but still no goals scored and very little to go for in terms of offense. 3 shots from the side of SPK, only 4 for Tarnish. Somebody has got to be a difference maker sooner rather than later.
That they do. I mean, this has given us plenty of time to converse throughout the game 1, so I am very appreciative of that personally. Given that we have a minute remaining on the clock now, and really tough time trying to see an opening from either side. I do think back to the one opportunity there where you had the cluster crash in front of Tarnish's goal, and yet we haven't seen anything like it since here in game 1. As we're coming down to these last 30 seconds, this could be the opportunity, yet it just does not shout, "I'm here, ready to score" quite yet.
Yeah, a reminder that, again, waiting ahead of them here is the Houston Spartans. Now, they're going to be waiting a while no matter how long this series takes, but we know the firepower the Houston Spartans have. We just saw them use it earlier.
Oh!
Someone's going to step up, and it's 80 who will do it. The super sub in with the goal late. It's been a very, very quiet game, but 80 will make his name known, subbing in for Soku, and standing at the top of game 1, 18 seconds left, and SPK are 18 seconds away from match point.
Yep, that's where I'm seeing it. You were talking about it earlier, how 80 needing that sub there to go in and having some sort of factor. They showed it right there and then, and I'm all for it, being able to be just that wild card factor for the stream at least.
Will be into the floor. Game 1 for SPK, the team that, again, the only team of the 3 left that has actually won an event of ours. 1 win away from making it back to the grand finals. They've, competed in a bunch of events since our week 1. But again, they haven't been able to win since then. So you know how much it will matter for SPK to be in the championship again after having it won in week 1, trying to be that team consistently at the top. They're competing with Tarnished for, points at the top of the rankings here. And the difference between, by the way, 3rd and 2nd in terms of points for this event, it's 16 to 24. It's 8 points. That's a pretty decent difference. And the difference between 2nd and 3rd, that's another 8 points. So we're going to be talking about a potential 16-point swing in the rankings for these two teams. And if you're keeping track of the rankings, 16 points would be enough to push them above Tarnish. That is, if they win this tournament. Of course, they're not the only ones fighting for that a potential spot at the top of the division. That is also falling to the Franglish. As well, and the Franglish are in a situation where they cannot go up above Tarnished in the rankings. They are in a position where they would like to be in the top of the rankings, just period. And again, for these top teams at least, they may not be thinking about points and rankings and all that stuff, but they will be thinking about it at the end of the season because that determines seeding, and seeding determines match drawing and determines who you get to play against in that first round. And considering it's a single elimination format, that's pretty important to be able to be a high seed and get to choose your first round opponents here. But we go to game 2, SPK. All 1 game up against Tarnish. Now, the road's not done yet. The series isn't over yet. But all they need is 1 more win, and they'll be in the grand finals to take on the Houston Spartans.
That they will. And you know what? The way I'm looking at this, we had a very good game one, all things considered. But that's going to be your first goal coming in there from Dre.
Yeah, solid showing from Dre. Able to pop one right over Poke. A little bit of an awkward miscommunication in front of the net, but Tarnished happy to jump on it here. And this is a Tarnished team that's looked a bit lackluster at times today. A bit defensive at times today. We need to see more from them. I need to see a little more firepower, a little bit more emotion from this team, I would say. Feels like a very stagnant playstyle. They got to get some excitement in there. That almost was it there from Dre, who just dinged up the crossbar. Aspect now trying to throw in against 80. Cure to clear. Zobas to Aspect. The 2v2 duo that won our 2v2 mid-season mayhem. Oh, they don't have boost though. This should be free ball for SPK, albeit they're going to have to wrestle it away from Tarnished first.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing this here, again, you're having a lot of this back and forth between the two teams, but I think what's really going to be definitive is off of passes here, because they keep going for the ball off the wall here, trying to see a setup play for these bumps. I think they're trying to do too much. I think you got to start playing a bit of that slow ball here, kind of work your techniques here, your mechs, if you will, into your opposition.
I like that you mentioned passing. It was a pass that ended last game as well to 80s, so it could be a pass that could be the difference in this game as well. A demo in front will be Zobas, challenged by Cure. 80 to go next, and SPK away in the midfield. Poke to the back wall. It's Cure to follow, who doesn't make great use of the first touch. He does have a lot of room to work. He's got by one. He will not get by the second. His Aspect will keep this one away. Dre, don't spike Poke. There's a little bit of confusion in front of the Tarnished net, but they'll clear it out and force SPK back. And SPK, desperate for a goal in this game. It's been low scoring, to say the very least. It may be that this one goal for early in the game could be the difference maker here. And ultimately, again, I'm surprised by how lackluster this game feels. It just feels like both teams sort of playing a chess match against each other, but it's a chess match where they're not really making a lot of moves. It feels like it's a game that's entirely too safe. I want to see someone take some more risks here. It just feels like these teams don't want to make mistakes and are too scared to be aggressive because of the potential of making mistakes.
I mean, I can see it, right? There was it right there, as you saw it. A great save, as we saw from Cure. Beautiful play there. But I like the aspect of playing it, so I think there is a lot of respect that goes into this kind of chess-like play style here, where, yeah, one little mistake is definitely going to cost you. As you saw there, it almost did cost the goal, yet they were still able to recover because they positioned perfectly enough to where it mattered most.
SPK need one. Zobas will clear. Dre to keep it out. It's Cure to the midfield. Poke's waiting. He's got 80 on the other side. The Super Sub, who has the only goal so far for SPK in this series, hoping to surge his team forward for another one. As Aspect, Cure, the demo! Dre's not gonna get to this thing! The net's vulnerable! Oh, it's Cure who took it away! It was an open net for Poke. I don't know why Cure went for it, but it's an open chance. It's one that should go in. You wonder what Cure was thinking going for that play, but whatever it was, it clearly wasn't. It didn't include Poke in the manner, because if he had known where Poke was, he would have known he wouldn't have gone for it. That really should be tied 1-1. I'm still baffled why Cure thought he needed to take that one. It was open for Poke.
Maybe they felt that they needed to be there, need to be that extra helping hand. But then there is that bit of, do you truly trust, or is it just, did it come down to miscommunication? And it makes me wonder sometimes, the ability, if we could hear these player comms, how that communication broke down there.
Yeah, you'd love to know. It was definitely a communication breakdown, by the way. These players definitely trust each other. You don't get this far without it, as that's going to fall in for Cure. Well, of all the ways to tie this game up, that was not one of them. A sneaky shot from Cure, though. He initially missed his early chance. I'm going to tell you this, that wasn't meant to be a shot. That was meant to be control and a dribble. Or maybe even a pass midfield. He had an option if he wanted to, but it just goes in. And you know, in a series like this, where both these teams have kind of been playing as passively as they have been at times, it feels like fluky goals, unexpected goals are sort of just going to be a factor.
Yeah, no, I kind of saw here there was like just the fly on the wall, seeing what happened, and then seeing, oh, what a tasty treat just right in front of me. But nonetheless here, 1-1, 30 seconds remaining on the clock. SPK really looking to get a shutout here. I mean, I certainly would if I were them.
Well, they'll need another goal if they are to take this series in a sweep. 80 to the corner. Cleared back in by Zobos. Tarnished with a chance late. It's Dre. It's Aspect, and it's Poke who gets there in time. Zobos will turn it around. This ball's going to be resting on the back wall for Poke. SBK, I think, will just take overtime here. They will. Let this ball fall. Go to extra time. Go to a position where if they can score next, they're into the grand finals. Then, well, this is an even game. It's definitely a situation where you would not be denying SBK's chances, as that nearly was the goal to do it.
Oh, that was so close. I think if 80 might have committed to it, you may have had a straight shot right then and there. But they're keeping on the pressure, which is very important here. Just has to make sure they bounce back properly here, having received the ball.
80 won't be able to get that touch there, and Tarnish, this is a nerve-wracking position for Tarnish, and specifically because for the org owner and Zaki. Now, he used to run an org called ZV Sports, and earlier tonight I mentioned that the history of ZV Sports is that his org is one that always seems to fall in the lower bracket late in tournaments. And he has a team that always needs to play in that lower bracket, so this is a nervy situation because this is his team, and they've been in this position before. They needed that goal! Well, it was a beautiful pass to Zobos. The Portuguese man will not be missing this one. Aspect finds him. What a perfect pass. And again, Zobos not missing there. The 2v2 connection made, and this series will see itself go to Game 3.
Hey, you love to see it. We get all the more action then for ourselves here, wouldn't you say?
Oh no, we always love long. I mean, the earlier part of this tournament was so short. It was so quick. So to have the longer matches later, I think this was expected. How top heavy this tournament seems to have been, to get the top 4 seeds, being the top 4 teams in the uppers, top 4 teams in the lowers. This is sort of, I'm gonna say it unsurprisingly. It's as expected to see matches go the distance. Reminder that the winner of this does get a part of the prize pool, does get that match against the Houston Spartans. So this is a huge Game 3. I mean, prize money's on the line at the very least, and you know how much these players will want that. They've been here for hours. They've been here at this point. For 3 hours. They've been here for 3 hours at this point. So,
oh, not too long. No,
that's
honestly,
a lot of gameplay in 3 hours.
It is.
And you would hate to end after 3 hours walking away with nothing. Essentially nothing in terms of prize money. So there's a lot of pressure on this game. Once you get into the grand finals, you know you've got some prize money. So at least you walk away with something. But not in the lower finals. You lose, no prize money to you. You got to win this match to get there. So again, we mentioned about all the pressure. Well, the time pressure is also on these teams. They've been playing for 3 hours. The fatigue is there. The exhaustion is definitely starting to get there for them as well. Winning this match is going to be a huge step forward.
No, most definitely. I mean, I can say, even off of my own personal experience, as an esports player back in the day, these long nights, you're going 4 or 5 hours in, it is draining, exhausting, and then you got to be ready for the next day, too. Well, here we go into Game 3 for all the marbles.
It is for the grand final spot resting in the balance. Only one team will see themselves make it that far. Tarnished, SBK, both teams that have made those kind of runs to the grand finals before. Both teams have actually apparently been to the grand finals as well earlier this season. I got corrected by that about that earlier. So they've already been to the grand finals once. Of course, SBK has won. Tarnished has not. So, you know, Tarnished looking to win their first event this season. It feels like a very long time for this, org to not have won an event. But of course, pressure's on them, and so is that shot from Zobos. Well, SBK was completely out of position there. 80 and Poke right next to each other, and Zobos will be more than happy to take it. A bit of a gimme, and one that he will have no problem taking. SBK will be kicking themselves, because that is not a goal you give up in your Game 3 this important.
Yeah, no, definitely not. That's something that I was not expecting to see. I've seen it with a lot of other games. Not a game this deep into the series here. I would be saying I'd see that after however many demos or everyone's run out of juice. It was just pure ghastly to see such an open goal. Nonetheless here, SBK really trying to see if they can even it up here to tie him the Game 3. But they're really struggling.
I mean, I think both these teams are just struggling in this series in terms of fatigue. Again, it's matches. I mean, this match has essentially been a crawl throughout the entirety of it. Yeah. So these teams are just kind of trying to go through the motions here and hope that they can keep the energy.
Oh, wait a minute! No,
come on! Get one. Well, it's a weird one for SBK. They'll be more than happy to take it. They've had a bunch of them. As what happened here? Zobos ran into Aspect, and a 50-50 just flows it all the way back from Dre. Well, it's Tarnished's own undoing, and SPK will be more than happy to watch as they completely fall apart.
Yeah, both goals are goals that should not have happened here for either side, so I think we're in a clean slate at the moment.
Okay to
Goodness
clear.
gracious.
Aspect to send it back. And you talk about those mistakes. You talk about it. Do you feel like the fatigue is showing for these teams with those kind of errors?
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt. They're being able to play off of the juggles, the carries. These are things that would easily get knocked away and shut down any other time of day.
Weirdly enough, there's still another match after this for the winners, so you can't be too tired at this point. The Houston Spartans are waiting. That next goal could be huge. 80, by the way, has scored a second goal now for SBK in this series. He's been a surprising hero for this team during this match, and they might need more magic from him as well. Harness just starting to heat up on offense as Aspect, with a really nice looking dribble, will not be able to end up putting it anywhere in front of the net. As Zobos sends it back. 80. Ooh, he messed up this one. He was expecting the challenge from Dre. He tried to play for the dunk, didn't get any part of it. And here goes Zobos from distance. Zobos to the net. Double commit here from SPK. Aspect now. Drop down pass. It's Dre to follow. And it's Poke, the last one back. The only one unaccounted for on SPK's side in that defensive line to get back and get the ball out. SPK's had to play a lot of defense though. And it's just Tarnish breaking through. It's an open net for Aspect. And it's a 2-1 lead. Well, SBK finally had the chance to break out. It fell in absolute agony at 80. Getting demoed with the cherry on top to a 2-1 advantage. Tarnished will be more than happy to have that.
Most definitely there. And that's one where, yes, I could see that one happen. You had the demo. You had all the elements line up perfectly where possible. And that's an earned goal, I would describe as. Now, given we were talking about the fatigue earlier, I was just thinking to myself, if these players are really feeling it that much, they need to be able to start getting some different methods going for themselves. Get some coffee, get some exercise going, stretch even, just have that blood flowing so that way you can keep yourself focused on the match, because it's really coming down to the wire here as the clock ticks down.
Okay. And SBK need a goal desperately, and they've only got 90 seconds to do it, and that's not going to help them either. The net's open. It's wide of the target, though. That could have been 3-1 there, and likely the goal that ends this series. Instead, 80 will poke it back the other way. An easy one for Zobos. He won't be too nervous about that one, but might be a little more nervous about this. Infield pass. 80 the target, unable to slide it under Zobos. And SBK still waiting. Time running away from them here. They've got to work quickly. It's a 1-goal difference. They can make this work for them, but simply put, there's not too many chances left in this game. And you know, Harness closing in on a 3-1 lead. Big play for Cure. SBK cannot let another goal in, and they got to find something soon. 60 seconds left to stay in this tournament.
Yes, this is where you're really starting to feel that pressure mounting, and it's almost in. Not going to be able to find that goal. Just sent away in time there. You're getting me very tense, very stressed about watching every single goal.
Post. And maybe it's here. It's Zobos! That might be the goal to do it. It just might.
No, I think you're right. I think that will be it. Off of a 2 lead here against SPK, I don't think they have it in themselves to get instant goals right off the bat here.
I just don't know if they have the energy to even get goals at this point. They look completely gassed out there. They need something. They need it soon. If they ought to have any hope, that was a chance probably to get them in this game again. Poke now towards the net. It's Dre with the hold. It's 80, trying to find the donk. He'll play it down for Cure. Can Cure find the net? He's got the dribble. He's got him all watching on strings. And he's got Poke to follow. That's wide of the target. Zobos will be there as well. 80 towards Aspect back. It's Cure desperately looking for something. This needs to go in. But Zobos sends it away and ends the series just like that for Tarnished. It's another appearance in the grand finals. For SBK still, they will only have that one championship. We're guaranteed somebody new is going to win this week.
Yes, sirree, that they are. And you know what? Great work for them. They really fought hard to be able to get themselves back into the grand finals there. I definitely thought that SBK had what it took going from game 1 to game 2. That overtime was just brutal to see the way it went.
Well, what a night we've had so far. Tarnished will get their rematch in the grand finals, as I think they were hoping they would. But again, neither them nor the Houston Spartans have won this season. Someone's going to win their first weekly event here in Season 2. When we come back, we'll find that answer. Houston Spartans have a game advantage, but we'll see if it's them or Tarnished who will be the champions of Week 6.
This is Troy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to the grand finals here for Week 6 of Season 2. This has been a long anticipated match as we have two grand finalists who are first timers in potentially winning it all. Isn't that right, Sporty?
It is. These teams have been to the grand final. Well, Tarnished have been to the grand finals before. Houston Spartans have not. But simply put, these teams were both expected to make it to this point of the tournament. The question now comes into who can win. And you said it. And you said it as well. Neither of these teams have won an event this season, so somebody's going to win their first event. For Tarnished, because of how far they made in this tournament, they're going to guarantee that they will still be the number one team in points at the end of this week. But for the Houston Spartans, they can gain a couple extra points. They can push themselves well into the conversation of a team that by the end of the season will guarantee a spot in the top 8 at the end of the season. For now, we're about to go into our best of 5 here. It is a game advantage for the Houston Spartans, so they only need to win twice to win this best of 5. For Tarnished, they need to win 3 out of 4 games to be champions. We've seen teams do it. We've seen teams do it this season. Very tough road for Tarnished, though, and I'm going to be honest, they looked really tired in that lower finals. They got to get some energy going into them here, because this Houston Spartans team, if Tarnished plays as sluggishly as they did in their last series, Houston Spartans are going to run laps around them, and that is not what you want to have with this team.
Oh, definitely not. As we're going to be looking to get into this match pretty soon here. I'm again keeping my eye on the Spartans, especially going to be Yoko. They were the star player that landed them with this lead here in the best of 5.
Said it as well. Yoko has been probably the difference maker today for the Houston Spartans. Well, the nice thing is these teams are more than good enough to get to win this kind of tournaments, and I think we're more than good enough to get this match going here. We're into game 2 here of this grand finals. Reminder that again, Houston Spartans have a game advantage, so this is already playing for a match point in this game. They can, if they win this, they're on triple match points, so it's a huge game. But the difference being, unlike a lot of events, Houston Spartans have had to wait quite a long time for this match. Typically, teams that have won the upper finals don't have to wait that long, maybe less than 30 minutes at most. They've had to wait quite a while to get to this match, so the Houston Spartans might need this game to just be a bit of a warm-up to start things out. As they're just trying to kind of get back in the swing of things. They've had a lot of waiting time in this grand finals to see who they'll play against.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's how I always like to treat these initial games within Rocket League, is that this is your learning game. You're able to get an initial lead, great, but even better if you're able to begin to adapt to your opponents. I mean, looking at this here, you're seeing plenty of demos coming on out. You're seeing the setups. They're trying every little thing they can. Do we take it wide? Do we kind of clear the field here? Do we go for passes? And look at that, almost having it. Has someone coming in from the third there, but not going to sink the goal quite yet. As already a minute in passing, you probably have had enough time for learning. Now you need to follow through with the execution.
Well, Tarnished can't take this as a learning game. They lose this, it's match point against them. So this is a game where they need to come out strong. You can't just come into this and hope that you can learn your opponents. Because let's be realistic, a 3-game comeback is pretty unlikely in a matchup like this. It's doable, but it's very unlikely and not what you want to be relying on if the team coming from the lower bracket. So this is your game to prove specifically. Although right now the Houston Spartans, as expected, the faster of the two teams at this point. Tarnished, again, need to be energetic. They need to be ready to show up. They need to be able to perform. So far, they've handled everything so far. But again, that's going to be that first goal that we're looking at to be the difference maker, to be the deadlock, to be the icebreaker for these teams. As Yoko might be the one to do it. High flick! Oh, no chance for Zobos! There's no chance for Zobos. What a perfectly placed flick. Top left corner, nothing that he can do about it.
Listen, I got to give him style points here. That was beautiful. Loved how they kicked that up into the corner of the net. And going to be having the kickoff here. Maybe we could see some more magic as it starts out very wide.
Aspect, looking for an answer. It's the Dre! Oh, what a lovely play from Aspect. He made something out of nothing there, because initially this play really isn't going to do all that much. I mean, it's an easy clear for Yoko, but look what Aspect does. He not only does he go for the bump, he actually jumps in front of Yoko, because he knows the only way Yoko gets that ball is if he jumps for it. So, because if he just drives there, Yoko jumps over him and he gets that 50-50.
Oh, yeah.
Because he jumps there, he prevents Yoko from getting the clear, and that means it's a free chance for Dre, and such a smart decision for aspect, and for Tarnished especially, they've been relying on that kind of intelligence to get them a lot of goals, because it's not been a pretty day for Tarnished. Oh, it's definitely not been pretty at all. But it's about being able to get just goals any way you can get them. They don't need to look good, they just need to count.
Oh, most definitely here, right? Look, you can be as fancy as you want, but the numbers don't lie here. It's 2-1. Immediate turnaround here in favor of Tarnished that now puts Houston Spartans on this hot spot here to try to make a play. I would be really looking to see if they can try to even things on up, because that's not going to happen with Zobas there.
Oh, what a great challenge from him. He said it, Tarnished have completely turned the screen around. This is a different looking Tarnished, one that's got a bit of a revenge in their minds, you would imagine. What a great shot, what a great way to get a goal, and now a 3-1 advantage for them halfway through Game 2. And a game where the Houston Spartans need to, or, as you said, are kind of in their learning stage, trying to warm up again. Tarnished, they can't take this as a learning game, and they absolutely have not. They have taken this game as a sign for them to put a message to the Houston Spartans that this is going to be a much tougher series than the last.
Yes, the message in the bottle left for the world here to see and read. Can you get it? Oh, so close, and yet so far here. I mean, I was really expecting Houston Spartans to actually have some more oomph on the board here by now. They've really started to kind of fall slow. It's like a cold start to their engines.
Yeah, again, I think a lot of it's just a warm-up. They've had to wait a very long time for this match. So during that time, I don't know what they did, but it's definitely not playing in nameless Rocket Rush matches. So they haven't been able to have that competitive time to be able to play against other teams. They may have played in some way, but ultimately there's not much that compares to actual competitive tournament matches like this. So in a way, they've been waiting. They've been, as you said, cold in a way. They've been kind of getting cold. They now need to warm up again, and it might be this game that's the one to do it. But they also need to worry about the fact that the way that they win is going to be by keeping games close. So the fact that Tarnished is up by 2 against them in a game where they've scored 3 times, definitely a concern here. And something that for Houston Spartans, I would expect in the future, they're going to rectify pretty quickly and make these kind of a low-scoring, close match. Because it seems like the top teams in this tournament have done so by keeping games close, by playing a defensive structure. Although right now, Tarnished doing anything but that as they're hunting for a 4th.
Yeah, not quite sure how that went down there in front of the goal. Was definitely expecting to see it sink in, but you have your opportunity right there. There it is, Zobas finding the opening.
It's 4-1. I think Tarnished have made their message more than clear. It's right in the faces of the Houston Spartans. Yeah. It's going to tell us this is going to be a much longer series than maybe the Houston Spartans were anticipating, and I'm all for it. Tie this thing at 1 each and go into essentially another best of 3. These teams are used to that. They played it in the upper finals, so we might be resetting the series right to a best of 3. And again, expect the Houston Spartans to have a better performance than this one in the next couple games. Assuming that this is just them warming up, expect the next couple games to be far closer, far more defensive, and far more decisive in terms of just any goals that you can get.
Oh yes, most definitely. I wonder if we're going to go back to the chess mentality, however. We didn't see it off the initial face-off here between Tarnished and Houston Spartans, but I could very likely see it take place again as we're down to our 30 seconds here for Game 1, and still not really seeing much pushback from Houston Spartans quite yet.
No, I'm surprised it's taking them this long to really warm up. I mean, this is a game that started out poorly for them and just had a really terrible stretch in the middle of the game. A Tarnished team that looks eager to get goals, looks willing to get goals. So far today, the problem with a lot of the teams at the top of this one has been the lack of ability of getting key goals when they needed them here. Tarnished, though, have done exactly that this game. Wow, they've been decisive. They've looked solid as well offensively. They're going to want to keep this going for as long as they can, because as long as they can play this kind of offense, it's going to be very difficult for the Houston Spartans to handle them.
Oh, most definitely. And that's one thing I thought the Houston Spartans actually had on lock was their offensive gameplay, but not quite. So, seeing how much they received on the pushback here in Game 1, I worry myself how Game 2 is going to go. Yes, we were saying this could be the warm-up game, but is it really much of a warm-up? I don't think it's enough to say that they've had a cold start, that they're trying to get back into the swing. That seemed very distinctive.
Yeah, it did. It felt like a game where you needed to see where one team was clearly better. Tarnished just had the firepower in that game. They had the ability to score goals. Houston Spartans didn't. That was something that I think these teams were both kind of missing at times in their upper finals, was that ability to get multiple goals together in a row. They need something to show up early, and really, I think both these teams need to be able to prove that they're able to have that firepower. They're able to score a bunch of goals at a moment in time. We'll wait to see the answer, but for now, the answer for Tarnish has got to be... Sorry, the answer for Houston Spartans has got to be finding that consistent goal-scoring prowess, something that they've struggled with so far tonight, and it may be even tougher for them as that right on the goal line. I'm surprised that didn't go in. A follow-up chance will be from Zobas. That will be in, and Tarnished right now running the game. The Houston Spartans look completely lost.
Yeah, this is one where I'm thinking to myself, what is our foundation right now? What is our baseline as Houston? You had such a strong baseline in the semis. This seems like it's completely flipped on its head. What is going on with these players here? I mean, that was almost a goal right then and there as well. This is getting way too close for comfort.
For the Tarnished, at least, they'll be more than happy because they're the team in control of the way this game is moving. But yeah, you said it. Houston Spartans have just not been able to hold this game. It feels like a complete change around. Tarnished, just a different team. It's 2-0 now. Dre's added another, and Tarnished. I am so surprised that this game has been as one-sided as it has been so far for Tarnished. Because we didn't see any of this in the upper finals. We saw nothing like this earlier tonight. But clearly, Tarnished to come into this series with a mission. And the Houston Spartans still sort of in that incubation period. We have just not seen them show us what makes them such a good team in this tournament.
Yeah, no, that's why it's leaving me a little bit flabbergasted on how this game's going, but really on paper it makes sense, right? We're seeing that they're not being able to make space, they're not able to maintain control of the ball once they get it, and they're even playing very low on tank the entire time, which is a huge problem when you have to move quickly from one side of the field to the other here. So if I'm Houston Spartans right now, I think I need to try to change up my strategy. I need to adapt and look for an ability to catch my opponents by surprise, even if it seems a little silly.
Aspects cleared away by Yoko. Zobas on the end will be played up for one. It's a 3-0 lead, and it's another for the Tarnished roster in the grand finals that has been anything but our expectations. Dominant for Tarnished so far, and still nothing from the Houston Spartans to answer.
Yeah, this is anything but usual. That being said, here with just about 3 minutes left on the clock, I'd be looking to see some sort of double up here. Maybe get some short passes, play a little bit of slow ball here. You have a great setup, and there's True with a goal. Now you have an opening.
Yeah, they've taken a while to get that goal. The nice thing is there's still a lot of time left in this game, but the fact of the matter is you're going to need to make this game work to you if you are the Houston Spartans. You've taken quite a long time to get to this point, and for Tarnished, at least, they've got to be a little bit cautious here. They've had their good moments before. They've had their good positions before. They've, again, been in the grand finals and lost before, so there's a Houston Spartans team that needs to warm up. Well, that's not going to help them. It's another goal for Aspect, and all the good we talked about the Houston Spartans, it's gone down the drain again because there's another goal for Tarnished. Even when things have gotten a little bit against them, clearly it hasn't. They're still just dominating.
That they are still a 3-point lead here. Yeah, I feel like Tarnished is going to have a very good mental mindset here to kind of set themselves up for the later games of the grand finals. I mean, you see this, yeah, they're dealing with the ball in their side of the field now. They're starting to feel a bit of that presence, but I don't think they're all that worried. I think they're pretty much smooth sailing here. Cool as a cucumber.
I would say that as well. I mean, there's still 2 minutes to go, and of course there's still time for comeback, still time for some late dramatics. Well, it might be smooth sailing for Tarnished. I think the Houston Spartans are going to probably rock their boat a little bit more and let them know they're still in this thing. There's still 2 minutes, by the way. There's a lot of time to play, so it's not over for Tarnished, but you said it. If they can just play their game, they should be able to maintain a lead like this. And oh, it's another goal.
Oh my god!
No matter what Houston Spartans does, it's Tarnished who has an answer for them here.
Oh wow!
You wonder what's in the minds of the Houston Spartans, because now that's twice in a row, by the way, that they've gotten a goal back, and a game where it feels like they can maybe build something off of it, and immediately it's taken away from them.
Yeah, that's just Oh my god. I'm at a loss of words because I do not expect to see that. That is a very rare thing to happen off of kickoffs there, especially at this level. So to see it get away so smoothly, so cleanly, is just nigh impossible. And yet, they still get it done.
True. Off the back wall. We'll look to try to dribble this one out. It's the Houston Spartans at this point who are kind of grasping at straws to just hope that they can just get another goal in this game. Keep any sort of chance that this can be close. Salvage something away from a game that right now is failing ahead of them. For a team like Houston Spartans, who we expected to be on match points early in this series, it might be tarnished to take the match point advantage away from them. Jake, or Sif, I should say, cleared out, will be stopped short in the midfield. Now it's True. Aspect on the ball. Trey is waiting. He will double tap it instead. A beautiful strike from Aspect. And that should tell you exactly how Tarnished are feeling.
Yeah, I gotta see this replay right here. I mean, look at the technique. They had that lined up yesterday, practically. Oh, I gotta love how they're able to just seamlessly pull off those plays like that.
Well, they've got more time to work here and add to that lead, although it might go the other way. It's just barely wide of the net. The Houston Spartans, desperate for anything, something to go their way. With a minute left in this game, they may not be thinking about making a comeback anymore. It might just be, can you get yourself some goals? True. On the dribble. Yoko again. True. Taken off his head by Aspect. It's a bit of an awkward touch for Zobos, but one he will make. And in fact, he might go for 7 too. True will get to it, but nearly another goal for Tarnish in a game that has been full of them. Zobos again, off the back wall. Zobos to Dre, who he didn't read that properly, and it will be a one-on-one chance the other way for True. On the dribble, he didn't get his flick how he wanted. Won't matter though, it's a third goal for Houston Spartans, and a consolation for a Game 3 that has not seen much positives for the Houston Spartans.
Yeah, still a 3-point difference here, and if I'm Tarnished, I'm still thinking that we're in a pretty good setting. If anything, maybe we play a game of keep away now. We've done all we needed to, and 30 seconds is not a whole lot to have to burn now. So I would say it's a great time. Try to get some plays going, but don't get complacent. That is going to be your kryptonite if you let yourself get too easy.
Well, they're not going to do that. They're going to play, as you said, a keep-away game, play for the 50-50s, go for the dribbles. They don't need goals anymore. The Tarnish knows that. They're more than happy to let this game burn away, and it will be them on match point. Tarnish, the team that has made it to our last 2 grand finals in Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2. They've lost both of them. One in a sweep, one in Game 5. Now we're on match point in a second straight Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Grand Finals, and we'll see if maybe third time's the charm. They have 2 chances to take this tournament.
That they do. I mean, I like to see this match point territory. This is a complete underdog comeback from Tarnish. Having been knocked down to the lower bracket, fight their way through in overtime and dominate. And now just they're back, they're ready, and they want to give us a good show. And they've been doing just that the entire time here. Do you think we'll actually make it to a Game 5, though?
Well, we did last time, and I didn't think we'd see one, and it's always possible, knowing the kind of players that are in this lobby, but we'll just have to wait and see. I will go to Game 4 here. Simply put, the question I gotta ask is, will Tarnish be able to keep this kind of impressive goal scoring going? I mean, they've had just a better offense this series, by far. And I expect that we're going to see more of that continue. It just comes down to if that's something that this Houston Spartans teams can handle. Now, these teams have played each other obviously once today. They also played each other in the last event, back when the Houston Spartans were known as the Franglish. That went to Game 3. So these teams have a lot of history against each other. History where now both these teams have taken a series off of each. So we'll see if maybe Tarnish can now take the lead in that series and take the tournament with them. Reminder, Tarnish have never won an event in Nameless Esports Rocket Rush Season 2. This could be their first. They're 1 win away here against the Houston Spartans.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you got a good start out here from Yoko, but it's not good enough. Trey almost having that lineup there for the goal. I like the aggression, but just need to fine-tune it a bit. You have a good opportunity here to start off strong. Jake, they're able to make the save, but the pressure still remains as Tarnish is trying to keep their pedal on the gas.
Zobas has been a pretty interesting playmaker today. He's been a huge factor for why this team has been successful. We've talked so much about Dre and his impact, weirdly enough, since he's one of those players that you don't talk about too much. But Zobas has been a huge firepower for this team's offense, so watch him. Watch what he will do. Watch how he'll line up for shots, because it feels like a lot of the plays that are going in are courtesy of that car. Zobas will be a huge aspect of this game, as, speaking of aspects, he'll clear it away. Sif to True. Dre to keep it out of the nets. Tarnish to go the other way again. Dre to Aspect. Yoko leaves it up in the air, as it will be recollected by Tarnish. Not for long, it's True. Zobas gonna be careful! Oh, he's taken out midair! It's a lead for the Houston Spartans!
Love to see that execution there. They were expecting, all right, I got this. Nope! Coming in from behind in their blind spot for the bump there. That was a beautiful play by Houston.
And they'll need more like that if they are to come back in this series. You're talking about Game 5s. Tarnish have already been to a Game 5 this season. It was last event. They lost that Game 5, so they know what it's like to be in that moment. They would love everything to not go there again. Right now, Houston is trying to take them that distance. It's Dre off the bar. He'll get another one as well on True. Still, Houston Spartans ball. True trying to dance his way through the defense. It's everybody very Tarnished on deck to get that one out. As offense still held by Houston. Not for long though. Zobas must be flicking away. True will be ready. As Dre having the way back, it was Aspect who did jump on that play initially, so they're going to be a bit delayed upfield, Tarnished, and in fact, they will not be upfield at all. Another demo in the backfield from Yoko. Sif doesn't have the boost. He will not be able to shoot. Not that I think he was planning to anyways. As Tarnish just trying to press this ball into control right now. Sominomi, it feels like a very different game. I don't know why it's taken this long for Houston Spartans to give us life, but it feels like they're giving us life here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is what a cold start is. It takes so long to get running again, but once it does, it will continue to run until it's put to a dead halt. And that's where you're going to be finding with Jake scoring once again.
Yeah, great shot there by Sif, aka Jake. He's gone with that name for a while now. I think he's starting to really like it. Houston Spartans are going to be liking this game, though. 2 goals to the batter. And every single game, they've struggled to take a lead at any point. Now they've got multiple goals in their favor. Tarnished feeling the pressure on them here. It's a grand finals that doesn't take that long. It's a grand finals where you need to be able to get wins in crucial moments. And it's a grand finals that, again, as of yet, Tarnished have not been able to figure out in 2 straight events. This team has been so close to winning these events so many times. This could be a 3rd event taken away from them if the Houston Spartans keep up this pressure. Sif, Zobas gets them up on Yoko now. He's been quiet this game, Zobas. He needs some action, some way to get shots on net. Houston Spartans have not given him any real looks. And I don't think they plan on either, as there's still 2 minutes to play. But at this point, Tarnished running out of options here. You're seeing the Houston Spartans heat up, get warm, and find ways to just shut them down short. The bumps and Tarnished haven't worked either, so you're seeing just on all facets of offense right now, Tarnished are struggling.
That they are. You're going to be having this ball right in front of the goal, yet not able to keep it nailed down. We keep going back to the same hot spots here. Corner of the field, front of the goal, on both sides. And it's not really getting any change up here. I think we're just playing a lot of limbo in terms of the balance here. And yet now we're going to be seeing a little bit of change, and that change is going to find another goal from Sith.
Yeah, and it just keeps on getting worse. None of these games have been close so far. We've seen dominant from both these teams. Oh, this is going to be a huge momentum factor for the Houston Spartans, because with a win here, there is absolutely a chance they take this tournament. I mean, it would be Game 5 up next. It would be a 2nd straight event going the distance. But
it would be.
We are, well, only a minute away from that being confirmed. Tarnished have yet to score this game. A team that has scored non-stop in games previous, struggling to score here and now. Aspect just kind of gives it away, a bit of a careless touch, and Tarnished unable to win the ball back. It'll just be Houston Spartans at this point doing what we saw Tarnished do last game, and that is keep the ball, make Tarnished use their boost to chase after it, and run out of options.
Yeah, this is something where I do begin to ask myself, we've said Tarnish has been to the Grand Finals twice, and yet both times have gone away from them. And I wonder if it's because of a pattern that's consistently taken place, where towards the latter half, things just get a little too out of hand. They start to run out of juice. Literally.
Yeah, and part of it is also the fact that every single time they've been to the Grand Finals, it's been through the lower brackets. So part of it is also the fact that they've always played against a team with an advantage. Unfortunately, that advantage will be very evident here. They're going to go late, Tarnished, but at this point, it won't make any difference. Houston Spartans, with this win and this win alone, are going to be on match points. And we've got Game 5 on our hands here, Somanome. In a tournament that usually sees these matches in the Grand Finals be relatively one-sided, this is now a second week in a row where it's a Game 5. And unfortunately for Tarnished, it's going to be a second. It could be a second week in a row where it's a Game 5 loss in the Grand Finals.
Oh, you'd hate to have that happen. That now being put in the mind of the player is the worst thing that you can do, because that is a huge distraction. It's like talking about a no-hitter. You don't talk about a no-hitter.
We've got Game 5 on our hands. Tarnished have been here before. They've been to the Grand Finals in the last 2 weeks. They have yet to win this season. For Houston Spartans, this is their first. And they really started slow, but we've got Game 5. One more game on our hands. And simply put, this is it. Win, and you're champion of the week. Lose, and you're going to have to settle for second place. This is the moment to show, the moment to shine, and the moment to be the top team here. Will Tarnished finally escape their demons? That's the question we're asking, because the Houston Spartans get their first tournament win of the season.
That indeed here. I think it's all going to be really off the momentum of this first kickoff here. That's going to be setting the precedence for the Game 5. It can easily be upset, but the mental that it will put into the opponent here, that seed of doubt that it will plant, I think will be the tipping point here for the Grand Final.
Well, it is Game 5, moments away. The tournament nearing its end. One last game. This is Tarnished's third time in the Grand Finals. For the Houston Spartans, it may once more be their night of success. For Tarnished, it could be heartbreak, or finally the relief at knowing you've been able to best the Grand Finals, the last match of the night. Week 6 nears its close. This game is the game to decide it all. Who wins and who takes silver?
Yes, it does. You know, there's a certain saying, third time's a charm, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, we could always look to see if that holds true here and now. Whether that myth will be busted or not is only in the hands of the players themselves.
And it's up to Tarnished if they can be able to, as you said, keep the juice flowing, keep their momentum going. A team that started out this series so hot. High-flying, high-scoring offense in games 2 and 3, the first 2 games of this series. Houston Spartans came into the game advantage. That's why they're on match point now. They've been able to correct their wrongs in Game 4. And here we go, it's Game 5, and man, it's going to be a huge first goal, because so far this Grand Final has been anything but close for these teams. They've been one-sided games, to say the very least. This first goal likely is going to be that tone setter, and well, if it's close or not, that tone setter may just be the goal that kind of sets things off. You never know if a Game 5 like this is going to be one-sided, but the way that things have been tonight, it's a possibility! Oh, what a strike from Yoko! He had all the room to work, and credit where it's done. What a smart play, up the ceiling where no one can reach. The bumps from True and Sif and Tarnished are absolutely thrashed out of the net.
That is just what you needed for Houston Spartans, and you know what? This is where I think Tarnished are biting their nails a bit here. If they can get control of this ball right now, there's hope yet. But they just don't have control of the ball. It also has to be of the opposing players here, because that has been the key to success for Houston. Every goal, these past number of them, almost finding it there.
Yeah, it was a close flip reset, but you're going to need more than that if you're going to beat the Houston Spartans. Their defense has absolutely seen a massive improvement at the later half of this series. And it's going to be a tough rock to break, that's for certain. Tarnished may need to bring some dynamite to break through it. They'll need
Bit
to
of
get
an explosive
some
play.
firepower, you could say. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
some firepower in a match like this.
Well, only time will tell here. They're playing actually a lot slower now this time around, and I think that is actually starting to show some cracks into Houston. They're kind of struggling against the slower gameplay where they're constantly crawling the cage to reach the ball.
Boost becoming an issue as well for them. They're starting to run a bit low on resources. And if Tarnish can keep the ball in that half of the field, it's going to become a major problem soon. Zobos up front. It's a flick. It's a demo as well. True's got to that one. Now he's bumped out. Ejected from the net. It's Sif with the clear. And a poor play from Aspect. It's Dre holding it back for Zobos. He's been, well, quiet since his showing in games 2 and 3. Aspect now. Reset the take. It's True who will get there in time. Dre again. Zobos towards the net. As a bounce that will be tough to read, and he might be the first to it. 50-50 up in the air. Yoko is ready. And looking for the Houston Spartans just slowing this game down. Again, boost may become a problem for them. Now they're just playing for control. They're waiting for it to be extinguished, but they've added the net. It's an open one for Zobos, and it's a huge goal for Tarnished.
Yeah, that was a battle of attrition right there. Whoever gave out in the end is the one that fell. And unfortunately, it's the Spartans this time around, which now finally evens up the series 1-1. With 2 minutes on the clock here, do you think either side has a real edge against the other?
It's been so even this game. Clearly no one's going to be one-sided winning this one at any point soon. It's a real game on our hands. A game 5, if you will, on our hands, but Tarnish going in for so many of these demos. They're getting rid of players. Yoko's the only one back right now. True will jump in to help out, but he's used all his boost. Sif will clear it away, and Dre will hold. I'm surprised he doesn't take the mid boost there, as it'll just put one on net. Easy for True. Demoed again. Yoko taken out by Dre. The bumps becoming a massive problem for the Houston Spartans thus far, and they continue to unleash hell on their net. Tarnished waiting is Dre. Zobos in behind. He'll leave it in the midfield, but it's Yoko who will finally get some respite. A clear that they desperately needed. Those bumps have been an absolute problem for them to handle, but that will give them some room to breathe and hopefully avoid more of that pain.
Indeed. I mean, what I think I'm looking for here is if there's one single goal, a cheeky goal, if you will, off a mistake, I think that's going to get it into the head of the players as they're fighting tooth and nail to get something in here.
Someone's going to be a difference maker. Someone's going to be a hero. You may not want it to be you, but someone's got to be there. 10 shots this game so far for Tarnished. They'll get 11th one here. That's gone wide. It'll be only 4 shots this game for the Houston Spartans, so they've been waiting patiently. The chance may not come. It's Zobos! And it's saved away by Yoko. Dre now to the back wall. Dre all the way. It's Dre on the net for Aspect! And it's in! Tarnished in the dying moment! Is that the goal to win it?
That is the grand question we're all asking ourselves here, as it gives them the lead with 16 seconds on the clock. The only hope for the Houston Spartans here is off of this kickoff. They need a Hail Mary here off the demo, looking to see how they can take this control. It's going to be Sith. It's up off the top. Does anyone have a follow-through here is the question.
Play to the corner. Yoko needs a help. It won't be there. Aspect will take the ball away. Series over. Tarnished have won at last.
There you go. 3rd time's the charm. Finally able to break the curse where it has plagued them for so long.
And in a Game 5 as well, the very Game 5 that they lost in last week in the Grand Finals, Tarnished night has ended in championship for the Houston Spartans. Their first time in the Grand Finals. Unfortunately, a start that was too slow and too late to be able to win it. But credit to Tarnished, every single week making it as far. They've been consistent, they've been there, and now they've finally done that. They've won a Grand Finals, and that's got to be a huge deal for this team. As I mentioned before, it's one thing to be consistent in these tournaments. You're going to make a top 8. You're going to make it to the Invitational later this season because of that. But even more importantly is being able to win these events. Prove to yourself you can win that championship when we do get there. Well, you can win the Season 2 championship when we get to that point. So for Tarnished to be able to win this event, to be able to prove that they are good enough to win this event, that's going to be huge for them because, I mean, they're almost certainly going to be going to the championship at the end of this season. And knowing that they have this win behind them, with this win in their belt, knowing that they can win this tournament, that's going to be able to add some real experience to this team and confidence that even, when we do get to the championship, that they have the ability to win it all there as well.
Yeah, I mean, having that win under their belt, that's just like hey, you know what? We accomplished something this season, at minimum. And also, shout out there to the Houston Spartans, right? First time going into the grand finals here. Honestly, taking a loss here, not the worst thing. Yeah, you hate to see it, especially when you had the initial advantage here against Tarnish. But, again, it's your first time here. I think that is a lot more that can be said by you than many other teams ever can. So,
yeah,
don't put yourselves down.
No, they've got plenty of chances to come back and win one of these events in the future. For now, though, that ends it here tonight. Thank you, of course, to our sponsors and Lake Trolley and trophi.ai. Thank you to all of you who've been watching, to Nameless Esports as well, and to, of course, everybody who's made this a part of everything of what we've seen tonight. Again, to our casters, Jerry J, some know me, our producer, In Ben, and I'm Sporty FC. Thank you so much for joining us for Nameless Esports Rocket for Season 2. This is Week 6. Show up again next Saturday for Week 7. The qualifiers are nearing to its close, and the competition is only getting hotter. We'll see you next week.